Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, and today is a special show, and I mean it. Listen, how many of you are dealing with debt right now and have dealt with debt your entire lives? And I'm going to be talking about the fact that the way that you're in debt now, no matter what decisions you made in the past about debt, not your fault. It's not your fault. And I'm going to tell you why it's not your fault in today's show. So listen, stay tuned, get ready, buckle your seatbelts, because I'm going to be giving you some information you probably never heard before. We're not blaming you because of the debt. I'm going to put the blame squarely where it needs to be, and you need to be able to hear it today. So let's get ready. And if you want to know why we're in debt, how we're in debt, and who to blame and what to blame, today is your day. So let's get ready right now. Get started. Oh my, this is the P.I.L.L Method Show, and we are live today. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're also live on Clubhouse this morning. So listen, if you're here on Clubhouse and you want to participate, you want to ask questions, and you want to get involved, come on up to the stage here in Clubhouse, and we'll give you that opportunity. But I want to get started today on understanding where this idea of all of the negativity around debt got started. And we're going to be looking at some of the things we've learned in the past about debt. Now, Dave Ramsey has made reference to me on his show. So it's only fair for me to reference Dave Ramsey on my show. What do you think? All right. So you've heard me talk about that before, but today I want to let's post this again. All right. Escape the debt trap. But and I want to get into what it is we are going to be learning about the debt trap today and how to escape it. But what we don't want to do is try to escape it with the wrong mental attitude. Okay. So the wrong mental attitude is this. You don't want to get down on yourself or let other people get down on you, because the debt problems are not your fault. We have been taught a certain way about debt. Okay. And so let me go ahead and get this off the screen and bring me back. Okay. So what we're going to be talking about today is that debt is not your fault. And if you are in Clubhouse and you want to join us here in YouTube, on YouTube, I'm going to get the link for you and paste it to the top of the page. All right. So let's go ahead and get that done right now. And there we go. And we're going to pin the link. There we go. Get that going. And once we get that up, then you'll be able to actually see what it is that we're doing here and some of the things that because I'm going to be bringing up some things here. Let Let me see. Is that the right link? Hold on for a second. I got to make sure it's the right link. Go to, yep, that's the right one. All right, excellent. Okay, folks. So who else is in here? I see Renee, I see Olga, I see Stephanie. If you are watching us online, also put your name and where you're from. So today in the chat, tell me where you are from and just say hello. All right. So I'm going to say hello to you. All right. Hello from Huntsville, Alabama. Okay. And because that's where I am, in Huntsville. Hello from Huntsville, Alabama. There we go. All right. Hello from Huntsville. That's where we are today. And so let me start here. Now, a lot of people listen to Dave Ramsey, and I mean a lot of people. Hey, Renee from Virginia. All right. A lot of people listen to Dave Ramsey, but a lot of people don't know Dave Ramsey's backstory. So I did a little digging. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put something on the screen here, some information that we dug up on Mr. Ramsey. And let's find out, because when somebody takes a certain attitude, there's usually something that triggered it. And something triggered Mr. Ramsey. Let's try to find out what that is. So I'm going to put this on the screen for you today. I'm going to add this. Okay. And we're going to change over. There we go. All right. So here's what we've got. Okay. Now, if you want to see this, come on over to YouTube, use a separate device so that you can see what we're doing here. Dave Ramsey's financial setback in the late 1980s was a pivotal moment that shaped his future career as a personal finance expert. Now, all this started at age 28. By age 28, Ramsey had built an impressive real estate portfolio worth $4 million with a personal net worth that had exceeded $1 million. So Dave was doing okay. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. Once you know how to make money, once you know how to make it, you can always make it. It is a formula. All right. So find out what that formula is and work the formula. So keep that in mind. His success was largely based, now listen to this now, his success was largely based on leveraging debt and short-term financing to acquire and flip properties. Okay, so that gives you a clue. Using short-term debt and using it to flip properties. All right, that's the first clue. What else did Mr. Ramsey do? However, Ramsey's financial empire was built on a precarious foundation. He relied heavily on 90-day loans, expecting to flip properties quickly for a profit. You see, if you do that once, you're okay. You do it twice, you're going to be good. But if you keep doing that, using 90-day loans, probably at a crazy interest rate, all right, using 90-day loans to flip properties, and you get used to that, you begin to over rely on that, and then something else happens. So what else happened? This strategy worked well initially, and it does. All right, it does work well initially, but this strategy left him vulnerable to market fluctuations and changes in lending practices. You see, when we start to do something a certain way, for some reason in our minds, we will begin to think it will always continue. And it won't always continue. So Dave started out using 90-day loans, expecting to flip these properties in 3 months' time, and he was doing it. It was working. And ladies and gentlemen, it worked until it didn't. Okay? So The turning point came with the Tax Reform Act of 1986, which significantly impacted the real estate market. Now, that's everybody in the market. Okay. So when the change in laws come and you are positioning yourself in the real estate market so that those laws negatively impact you, you begin to blame the wrong thing. Now, listen to this. Right? So what happened was this legislation reduced the tax benefits associated with real estate investments, causing property values to decline as demand decreased. Simultaneously, Dave Ramsey's primary lender was acquired by a larger bank. Now, in the Bible, that is referred to as there was a new Pharaoh that didn't know Joseph. Now, if you read the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, but there's a new sheriff in town. There's somebody new in town that did not know Dave, did not respect Dave, didn't know his ability to repay loans. And so somebody new comes along that says, listen, we're going to change everything for you, Dave. Dave's primary lender was acquired by a larger bank, which took a more critical look at his loan portfolio. Now, did that mean that Dave no longer possessed the ability to repay the loans or continue to conduct business like he always conducted business? No, it didn't. What it meant was we have new rules, and Dave, your portfolio doesn't fit in our rules. So here's what happened. The new bank demanded Dave Ramsey's loans the bank deemed Dave Ramsey's loans too risky and demanded repayment of $1.2 million within 90 days. So Dave had $1.2 million of loans on 90-day notes. Now, what does that tell you today? So of all of you that understand real estate now, that are studying it now to get into real estate, would you ever have $1.2 million in loans on 90-day notes? Would you do that today? All right. All of you that are studying real estate right now, all of you that have been working on this, I don't care where you've learned it, where you got a course or you learned it from YouTube University, but you tell me, do you think this is a smart play to have $1.2 million worth of loans on 90-day notes? You tell me. All right. What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Put it in the comment section. Okay. So now, shortly after, a second bank called an additional $800,000 in notes. You see, in the banking industry, there's something that happens because when one bank hears about what you're doing, or one credit card says we're going to lower your limit, I don't know, somehow the other credit cards find out and they start lowering your limits. Okay, so one bank did this and another bank, I don't know how they do this. All right, but all the banks are finding out about Dave. And if one called the loans, listen, the other bank says, we better call in our money too. So shortly after, a second bank called in an additional $800,000 in notes. Faced with these sudden demands and a declining real estate market, you see there's pressure from all sides. The banks are pressuring, declining real estate market is pressuring. So Dave, he relied on flipping these houses and selling them. But if there's a decline in the market, you don't sell them as quickly. And now he's faced with either trying to sell the properties quickly. He's looking at maybe selling them at a loss because he needs now to liquidate. I need to liquidate so that I can pay back these loans. And now he's looking at probably selling off this property for less than he planned. Okay, faced with these sudden demands and a declining real estate market, Ramsey found himself unable to liquidate his assets quickly enough to meet his obligations. That's the other thing, folks. When you're in real estate these days, you have to read the entire contract. So you want to try to figure out what's going to be my exit strategy and what leverage does the bank hold over me? You see, when things are working well, you may not pay attention to what the banks can do to you and when. But once you start realizing what the banks can do to you, then you may want a different sort of contract. So listen, look, follow whose ever course you're in, and make sure that when you get to the part about contracts, you set up this thing in a way that benefits you, and it won't catch you up in a bad spot, and so that the banks won't call the loans in too early. All right, give yourself time. Now, despite his efforts to repay a significant portion of the debt, Ramsey was left with an outstanding sum of $378,000. So he did well in getting rid of $2 million, excuse me, $2 million worth of loans, selling off the property. But even though he sold it off, he had over $2 million worth of debt. He got it down to $378,000. The combination of called loans, declining asset values, and insufficient liquidity ultimately forced him to declare bankruptcy at age 28. Now, I need you to start listening. If you've listened to Dave Ramsey, he is totally down on all debt. All debt. I don't care. Credit card debt, don't. In loans to get a house, no, stay away from debt. Do everything on a cash basis. And I'm telling you today that cash is not king in this society. Trying to do everything cash is unrealistic, and it can severely hamper your ability to put money away for long-term investments and getting ready for retirement. You see, if borrowing money, I need you to hear me now, if borrowing money was so bad, then your banks in your town would be out of business, because banks are the biggest borrowers in your town. They borrow money, they borrow our money, and then they make money with that money and then pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of that money. Why can't we do the same thing? All right. Now, I need you to listen to what really happened. It's not debt that was bad. It was bad debt that was bad. And Dave Ramsey now is trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater and not telling you everything you need to hear and understand about this debt. Now, let me back up just a little bit. This experience exposed the dangers of over leveraging. There it is. He wasn't properly leveraged. He was over leveraged. Okay. He was over leveraged and relying on short-term financing in real estate investments. So is this something that you needed to learn? Or is this something you need to be so down on that you'll never venture on this ground again? You see, it wasn't the debt that was bad. He had to learn the lesson about over leveraging and using short-term debt in real estate. That's what's going on here. So let's see what happens. It also highlighted the risks of operating in a market artificially inflated by tax incentives. You see, you have to know the whole thing that's going on around you. And this market was artificially propped up by tax incentives. But what happens when a new sheriff comes, and we can see this now, what happens when a new sheriff comes to town and says, now we're going to remove those tax incentives? So now you can't do the things that you used to do. You're thinking that these things are going to go on forever, and they don't. And this set the stage for his future career as an advocate for debt-free living and conservative financial management. Ultra conservative. I need you to start paying attention to what's going on now. Because of this, this left a bitter taste in Dave Ramsey's mouth. I mean, he looked at this thing as a loss. I lost all of my money. I've lost, he was up, his net worth was at that time was like $3 million. He had $1 million in assets. He had in cash, and another $1.2 million in other assets. Okay, that he was used to flipping and making even more money. So Dave was doing well, but he looked at his financial reverses as a loss. That's the first thing that Dave did that put him in a negative mindset. When you're in business, when you're learning anything at all, ladies and gentlemen, keep this in mind. Failure is part of the process. There is no loss in a universe of abundance. There is no loss. There's only things you can learn. I need you to comment on if you disagree, go ahead and put it in the comment section. We can talk about it. I need some more people to come to the stage so that we can understand what's really going on here. If I had a financial reversal and I'm listening to people that tell me I did something wrong, and they use terminology like this is the terminology that Dave Ramsey uses on his show. And I said, so I picked out some of them, and here they are. Financial idiots. Do you know how many people come to the P.I.L.L method and they're literally ashamed of the financial situation that they're in until we tell them, listen, you are in great shape. I've seen people with, like 18 student loans, 18 student loans. I've seen people with over 20 credit cards, all right, that are practically maxed out. But guess what, folks? I need you to think about this for a minute. Look at it from the P.I.L.L method perspective. When my team looks at your, when you fill out a request for a savings report, we're looking at a couple of things. We don't care how much debt you have. What we look at is, can you at least make the minimum payments on your debt, okay, with your income? Folks, if you can make at least the minimum payments on your debt with your income, you are in good shape. And even if you have just a little bit of money left over after all the bills are paid, you are in good shape. Because here's what we're looking at. Oh my goodness. When you have all of this, when you're paying out you're paying on 20 credit cards and your mortgage and your car loans, and if you're paying on your student loans too, do you know that's a significant amount of money that you're making? It's just that you're under stress because of all of the debt, and you don't know how to get rid of it. But what we're seeing is you're making plenty of money, but too much of your money is going towards interest. Well, that's what's happening. So is the debt bad, or is the interest on the debt the bad thing that we need to do something about? See, so Dave is looking at this as the debt did this to him. So anybody else is in debt, he calls them financial idiots. Because why does he call other people financial idiots that use debt? I need you to think about this for a minute. Why does he use such harsh terminology for people who are in debt? Because he thinks of himself as a financial idiot. He's hard on himself because he looks at this thing as a loss and not a learning opportunity. How can you look at things as a loss when we are living in a universe that's abundant? There's abundant resources. You just have to know how to tap into them. But because he had a loss, because he was over leveraged, leveraging didn't do that to him. Over leveraging did that to him. Debt didn't do that to him. Short-term debt did that to him. So what was he supposed to learn from that? Not that debt is bad and cash is king. He should have learned how to leverage properly. And that's what we teach at the P.I.L.L method, how to leverage properly. Okay, Robin, let's come on up. Come on, Robin, I see your hand. Miss Robin raising her hand. Come on, Robin, what do you have to say about this today?
I think you was getting ready to answer the question that I was going to ask about what do you do in the situation when you over leverage. I think you was getting ready to get into that. I just raised my hand a little bit too early.
That's okay, Robin. But what do you think about what we're talking about so far?
Everything is good information so far. I'm listening in and out. I'm at work.
Okay. All right. So we're going to be talking about how Dave looked at this situation and how I believe we should look at it. So instead of being called financial idiots, okay? And I need more people on the stage, okay? Because Dave thought of himself as a financial idiot. Now he calls other people financial idiots. I need you to understand that hurting people hurt other people. Mr. Ramsey is completely negative when it comes to people using debt. Why? Because it brings up his painful past on how he used debt and it turned against him. Debt isn't bad. The way he used it was bad. All right, now listen to this. So he says finance, he has used this term to describe critics of his methods, suggesting he views certain financial decisions as foolish. Certain financial decisions as foolish. Listen, folks, if you make a financial decision and it turns out wrong, do you want people to refer to that as foolish? If enough people do it, and the people you respect and listen to call your financial decisions foolish, will you also think your decisions are foolish? Listen, folks, life is a journey of learning what works and what doesn't work. When you find something that doesn't work, it doesn't make it foolish. It just says, don't do that again. You know? So don't call it names. Find out what you need to do instead. So Dave calls it foolish. So here's another term he uses, credit card slaves. Anybody who uses a credit card at all is a credit card slave to him. This is why he has his people cut up their credit cards. When you come to the P.I.L.L method, we don't ask you to cut up your credit cards. Listen, do you want to cut up the credit card to deny you access, or do you want to learn how to use them properly? What makes more sense to you? Something is wrong when you don't know how to use a credit card in the correct way. Listen, do you know that when I'm a devotee of Mr. Ramsey, and I'm going to try to fly across country at the last minute. I don't have a credit card. Okay. And then when it comes to renting a car, I don't have a credit card. Okay. When it comes to doing some other things, I don't have a credit card because somebody told me that if I have a credit card, I'm a credit card slave. And so we learn to think about all of this in a negative light. Well, at the P.I.L.L method, we show you how to use your credit cards properly. Okay. So, okay, here's another terminology, broke people. Okay. Ramsey often refers to individuals in debt as broke people, regardless of their income. How silly is that? How silly is that to tell people that are following you that you're broke if you use any kind of debt at all? The average, the median home price in America today is $400,000. He is so down on debt that he says this, that if you can't afford to get a 15-year mortgage, you can't afford a house. And I've done this on my show where you put undue stress on yourself to get a 15-year mortgage. Let's say you don't know anything about the P.I.L.L method. Let's say all you've listened to is Mr. Dave Ramsey, and you think you should get a 15-year mortgage. Well, you don't need permission to get a 15-year mortgage. You can get a 30-year mortgage and make the 15-year payment. Could you do that? You see, he's setting people up to do the same thing that happened to him. Because a certain thing works right now doesn't mean it will always work. And here's what I mean. If you get a 15-year mortgage and your situation changes, the financial landscape changes, you're locked into that very high payment. But if you want to follow Mr. Ramsey's advice, get a 30-year mortgage and find out what the 15-year payment would be and just make the 15-year payment. If things get tight, you can always drop back to the 30-year payment. Doesn't that make more sense than telling people if you can't afford to have a 15-year mortgage, you can't afford that house? That's ridiculous. And a lot of people take that as gospel, and it ain't gospel. It is a negative worldview in a world of abundance. Now, I believe that it's a world of abundance. If you lose money and you think of it as a loss, then you're going to be stuck in that mindset. And you're just going to be, you're going to be mourning your loss instead of looking at where can I go to tap into the abundance again. Has anybody ever read the book, Who Moved My Cheese? I need you to get that book today. Go to Amazon, wherever you buy your book, and get that book today. Who Moved My Cheese? Let me go ahead and put that on the screen for you. Okay. All right. Who moved my cheese? Okay. Who moved my cheese? Okay. There we go. I'm going to put that on the screen for you guys. All right. And let's see here. Oh, I don't want to do it that way. Okay. Who moved my cheese? I want to just show you images of that book. All right, there we go. Let's bring this over for now. All right, so here's that book, Who Moved My Cheese, and here's several covers of it. Let me click on this one in Amazon. Okay, Who Moved My Cheese. All right, it's like a $10 book or $11 book. You can get it. And listen, you can read it in no time. All right, and understand this is a book that talks about things that go well for a time and then they stop going well. But here's what happens. People keep going back and doing the same thing they were doing before when things worked. instead of finding the new thing to do in the new climate. So please read this book, Who Moved My Cheese? All right, I need you to do that. All right, Who Moved My Cheese? All right, so anybody else that wants to come to the stage to help me out here, please do. All right, come up to the stage and we'll talk about it. So Mr. Ramsey also uses this terminology a lot: arrogant and stupid. He has used these words to describe people who disagree with his financial advice while being in debt themselves. Arrogant and stupid. Now, if you go back to what Mr. Ramsey was doing here, okay, he had $1.2 million. He had $1.2 million in short-term debt, 90-day debt, 3-month debt, $1.2 million, because he was flipping these houses so quickly, he thought it was okay to use 90-day loans. So when that whole thing turned against him, what did he think of himself? I was arrogant to think that I could keep doing 90-day debt and make it work for me. When the market turned against me, I looked at myself as arrogant and stupid. Do you know how many times I've listened to Dave Ramsey and he calls other people, their decisions, stupid when it comes to debt? And folks, I want to tell you, it's not your fault. So, do we throw the baby out with the bathwater, or do we start to think of our situation differently? Can I share some things with you? Okay, I think let me get this off the screen for just a second. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move that off the screen, and I want to talk to you just a minute about how I look at this and what matters to me. Okay, here's what I've learned over time. By reading the Bible, there's a text in the Bible, John 10, verse 10. All right. And the last part of the verse says, I am come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. I believe that we live in a world of abundance. It's all around us. Okay. So I can't believe that if I have a financial reversal, that everybody is in financial reverse. No, somebody is doing well. Other people are doing well. The resources that I need to do well are out there. I just don't have it right now. I'm temporarily, my wallet is empty. Temporarily, my bank account is empty, but it's a temporary situation. Why should I take the attitude that my situation is bad? Why can't I take the attitude that I need to do something different to put me in a better financial situation in a world of abundance? Listen, a lot of you here in the Clubhouse, a lot of you who are listening to me either on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, are children of immigrant parents coming to this country, working hard to put you through school, and now your life is so much better because you've learned from your parents a work ethic that is second to none. And you put that work ethic together in school and learning your particular profession, and now you're living better. Some of you are probably the first college graduates in your family. Now, What if you're in a family that has a legacy of college graduates, a legacy of people who are financially successful, and they pass that legacy on to their children? What's the difference between somebody who has a legacy of financial benefits that they're passing on to their children and then somebody who comes here with nothing, turns it into something, and gives that to their children? You see, listen, it's okay to start out. It's okay to start out with a legacy of financial benefits and it's passed on to you. But please, if you start out on third base, don't look at it as don't look at it as you hit a triple and you started out on third base. Okay. Just be thankful that you were able to inherit a financial legacy and a mindset towards money that is beneficial to you. But what about those who are starting out with nothing? All right. What does Cass C say? I got to see what you're saying. The difference is that you get a bit of a head run, a bit of a head run. Plus, if you run into problems, you can call on family to bail you out. That is so true. That is so true. You can do that. But what if you don't have that? So what if you don't have that? How should you look at yourself? Should you look at yourself as stupid? Should you look at yourself as dumb? I made a dumb decision? Or can you just tell yourself, listen, I am trying here. Something didn't work. I'm going to continue to try until it does work. When we started this business, when we started the P.I.L.L method, listen, it was a struggle. I was a firefighter for 17 years. And in Michigan, where I was a firefighter in Battle Creek, Michigan, you don't get to retire. You don't get a pension, all right, a full pension, unless you're there for 25 years. I left 8 years early. I don't get a pension from the fire department. I got my contribution I made to the pension. So when I left, I got my contribution that I made to the pension, and I sunk that contribution into starting a business. What? You left the fire department as a lieutenant. I was going to take the test for captain, and and on and on and on. I was going up through the ranks. But I left 8 years early because I found out that I had a talent for looking at amortization schedules, seeing some of the weaknesses in the amortization schedule, and finding out that we weren't being taught this at all at any level of financial education. Dave Ramsey didn't get it. Susie Orman didn't get it. There are a lot of people that don't understand how an amortization schedule works, how the bank makes their money through interest. But when I look at an amortization schedule, because I have autism spectrum disorder, I see this thing in pictures and patterns that we can turn the whole thing around to work to our benefit. All right. Do you also, and this is what I've dedicated my life to. And I left that job in 2007. In 2008, I moved to Huntsville, Alabama. Now, here is what's going on. I left that job to build this business. And during the first 5 years of that business, it was a struggle. Did I think I made the wrong decision? There was a part of me that thought about it. There was some doubt there that I was making the wrong decision when I was in put in a position that I had information that the whole world needed to know. but it wasn't easy. Being a lone voice saying that you can cut interest costs by 75%, that you can it is good to get to use leverage and use it in the right way, that you can borrow money at 75% off and pay back a 30-year loan in about 7 years. Oh my goodness. So Dave, why should people get a 15-year loan when they can get a 30-year loan and pay it off in 7 if they understand how an amortization schedule works? This is what we do here, ladies and gentlemen. We put people in a situation so that they can use these loans in a way that benefits them. You can be put in a position where you are in charge. You don't have to pay all that interest. So the way Dave did it, he was over leveraged using 90-day notes, and it caught him. But instead of saying, you know what, there's got to be a better way to do this, he just went off the deep end and said, let's throw the baby out with the bathwater and say all debt is bad. And it's not. Okay. Cassie says, what else did you have to? The difference is that you get, all right, I already read that. Okay. Does anybody else have anything else to say about this? Come to the stage. Okay. And let's talk about it today. So here's another text for you from the Bible. All right. Philippians 4:19. And my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. I believe that. How much of my need will be supplied if I'm doing what I've been put on the planet to do? I believe that I'm put on the planet to do a certain thing. Oh, listen, I need to contact this person here. Hold on for just a second. People are trying to contact me already. Let me tell them that we are on. I am on YouTube right now. Okay. And I'm telling them to come to P.I.L.L Method. There we go. All right, there we are. All right. So, people call all the time trying to get our advice. But I need you to know, I needed to start believing that all of my needs will be supplied, even though I'm looking at my empty wallet. I'm looking at my bank account that is almost drained. Now, I wasn't completely broke, but I'm looking at the amount of money that I have right now and the bills that I have next month. If I'm looking at the money I have right now, it doesn't match up with my bills that I have next month. Guess what I'm not doing? Ladies and gentlemen, guess what I'm not doing? I'm not looking at the fact that my bills are paid right now. I'm not looking at that. I'm not looking at the fact that I should be grateful that today's bills are paid. And if I'm living in a state of gratitude, then I will not miss the ideas that come to me so that I can pay next month's bills. Are you hearing me right now? Having an attitude of loss, having a scarcity attitude, you will miss opportunities to do better financially if you are not in the right mindset. You will not be on the same wavelength as the benefits that are trying to come to you. Does that make sense? If I'm negative, how can I understand or even see positive? I cannot. I will not. All right. Let's see. Let's see what else is. It says here, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. These are the things that help me, knowing that I live in abundance. I don't have to look at debt as stupid. I don't have to look at the decisions that I made as stupid. I don't want other people telling me that I'm stupid. I don't want other people telling you that you are doing the wrong thing, that debt is stupid, that the decisions that you made are wrong. Listen, folks, how can you blame somebody for doing the wrong thing if they've never learned the right thing? If I'm hurting and I'm negative, anybody who reminds me of my hurt, anybody who reminds me of my negativity, I'm going to project that on them. Dave Ramsey's audience gets his negativity, gets his hurt because he lost $3 million. And he looked at it as something that was negative, not something to learn from. So when you come to the P.I.L.L method, ladies and gentlemen, you need to know it's not your fault. So I'm going to read, I need, when you get an opportunity, go ahead and read the description from today's show. Okay. I'm going to share the description from today's show with you today. All right. So all right. I want to get there. Okay, hold on. I got to turn this off so we can read this. All right. Let me pull this over here so we can read it. I'm going to read the description from today's show. Welcome to a transformative episode of our live podcast. Debt problems are not your fault. Where we dismantle, well, let me pull this over here so you guys can see it too. Okay. Where we dismantle the misconception and undue blame placed on individuals struggling with debt. This session explores the harmful impact of traditional debt reduction strategies like the debt snowball. That's what Dave Ramsey uses. The avalanche method. That's Susie Orman promotes that, which fail to offer an excuse me, which fail to offer an in-depth financial education necessary for effectively minimizing interest payments. It's interest that we need to manage. You see, let me ask you something. If all of your debt was 0% interest, is there any financial benefit to paying the debt off early? If all of your debt was this way, okay, is there any benefit? If you all had 0% interest, there's no financial benefit to paying it off early. So why does Dave Ramsey, why does Susie Orman, why do all the other financial gurus focus on how much you borrow instead of the cost to manage what you borrow? It is the interest cost that is the problem. Let's lower the cost of borrowing and make the whole thing work for us. Listen to the rest of what we have here. In today's financial discourse, today's show, okay, too often individuals are unjustly criticized and labeled with harsh terms for their financial choices. Folks, I don't want you to live there anymore. Please don't. Don't let other people do that to you. This episode challenges the narrative that financial struggles are the result of personal failure. Your financial distress, don't blame yourself for that. You see, it wasn't because you weren't paying attention in class. I'm trying to tell you, there was no class. So how could you know? All of America, well, listen, all over the world, we are expected to use credit cards, mortgages, car loans, student loans to get to where we are now. But what we are not taught is how the loans actually work, how they're constructed. If you know how a loan is constructed, you know how to manage that loan better and cheaper. And that's what we're getting into. We break down how the loan actually works so that you can use it to your benefit. So you're not stuck and telling yourself you made a bad decision by using debt. You've got to know how it works. Okay? So we debunk the myth that seeking financial help or failing or falling into debt is a reflection of one's intelligence or capability. If you have debt, it isn't because you're not intelligent. In fact, you are the most intelligent when you know how to use it right. Instead, we argue that these situations often arise from a fundamental lack of accessible, comprehensive financial education, something the P.I.L.L method aims to correct. That's why we're here, folks. That's why God gave me the mission back in 2007 to quit my job at the fire department, to struggle for the next 10 years after that, and turn this into a viable business where we are helping people in several different countries understand how this whole thing works. And I meet people all the time. In fact, I was out to dinner the other night. I think it was Monday night, and we ran into a couple that, let's see, 5-6 years ago, just moved into a house that was over $1 million in debt. And they decided to use our program. He says, Don, we only have about this was 5 years ago. We only have about 5 or 6 years left on that mortgage because of the P.I.L.L method. Do you know how that made me feel? To be able to hear that people are actually using. Now, see, here's what's really going on. Not that I need you to hear what's really happening. Not that he's almost paid the debt off, but he has so much more equity. This house is worth way more now than it was when they built it. Okay? But his equity is way up here because his debt is way down here. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine what he can, and being in business, do you know he can now reap some of that equity if they need to scale their business? It's right there sitting in their house. Oh my gosh. It is crazy what people can do once they understand this thing. Okay. So, where was I? Okay. Through the innovative use of AI and the opportunity cost calculator, the P.I.L.L method provides a supportive and enlightening environment of learning how to measure and optimize interest payments effectively. Our approach empowers you to make smarter financial decisions that directly oppose the outdated and punitive strategies promoted by some traditional financial advisors. Listen, don't fall into that trap, folks. Or don't allow people to talk down to you or make you feel bad about financial decisions. When people call us, we are trained here at the P.I.L.L method as they are telling us their story. We start right then encouraging them and letting them know this is not your fault. It makes them feel better from the very beginning as we give them strategies to turn what seems to be a negative into a positive. Oh my gosh. What we do here, I really do look at it as a ministry. We are helping people to overcome something that they have been taught the wrong way. All right. And the financial advice that we get now actually keeps us in debt longer. Yeah. We're going to show you some of these things. Okay. Join us today. Join us to understand how you can achieve genuine financial freedom without feeling isolated or demeaned. The P.I.L.L method not only teaches you how to manage debt more effectively, but it also creates a safe space for financial growth and understanding, free from judgment and negativity. Oh my goodness. That's what we do here today. So if you want to come into a space that is free from judgment and free from negativity, you have to come here to the P.I.L.L method. I need you to do this today. All right, we're going to start with this today. If you want to know more about what we do, go to ice10k.com, ice, the number 10, the letter k.com, and scroll down under E.T.'s picture, E.T., the hip hop preacher who paid off his mortgage early using the P.I.L.L method, okay? And click on the button that says Get a Savings and Earnings Report. By doing that, putting your information in here, the first page comes up and says, don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Get your free savings report now. For free, you can learn the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you can save. Right now, we're losing, the way this thing is set up, we're losing a ton of money, a ton of money. So what we're doing is teaching what Mr. Ramsey should be teaching people. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't do that. Let's learn how to do the thing correctly. And let's see here. Let me pull up an amortization schedule and show you what I'm talking about. I need you to understand that if you learn how to understand debt correctly, okay, you learn how to understand debt correctly, all right, you can do things in a way that go against everything you've been taught. Here's one of the things. Once you understand this, higher interest rates work better than lower interest rates in an amortization schedule for you when you learn how to read it. Okay, so let's put a $400,000 mortgage in here, okay, at 7%. Okay, and there we go. Calculate. I need you to see that how this breaks down. The very first payment, only $327.88. That goes to principal, paying back the loan. But look, they get to discount your loan by over 80% by calling $2,333 of the money you just gave them. They get to call it interest, which leaves you only $327.88 to pay back the loan. But most people don't realize that this can put you in a great position if you understand it. Okay? If you understand it, then you'll see that these small principal payments can actually work for you. If you start this loan in 1 month, like January, the $329.79 on line 2, if you want to see this, go to my YouTube channel, click the link at the top of the page. If you're in Clubhouse, you can't see this. Go to the YouTube and then you can see this. Look for the P.I.L.L method, bring up another phone, bring up your tablet, bring up your computer, go to YouTube or Facebook and search P.I.L.L method, and you can see that we're live right now. So you can see these numbers. Seeing the numbers is really, really important. So if I start this, my payment in January, February's principal payment is $329.79. What if I just happen to have an extra $329.79 available? Do you know I can pay that early? I can also pay that in January, and all of that goes to principal. It goes to my loan, which makes it so that I'm paid down to line 2 on my amortization schedule. Only $329.79 gets rid of line 2, and now I'm on line 3 of my amortization schedule for February. The payment for March moves up one. So what just happened? For $329, Payment number 1 is now touching payment number 3. I just got rid of payment number 2 for 329. What would happen if I lower the interest rate? That's what people are waiting for now, trying to get a lower interest rate. Okay. So let me see here. Let me get rid of this. I got to get rid of this. All right. Oh no. Um, Hold on for a second. I made a mistake here. Shoot. All right. I made a mistake. I got to fix it. All right. Give me just a minute to fix this mistake. Okay, we need 12 time. Okay. Um, let's see here. We've got to put this in. Um, Sorry, folks, for the delay. All right, because I got to get this show back on the air on okay. So hopefully they'll come back in. All right. So, all right. So here's where we are. All right. So I need to show you that. All right, folks, come back in. I am so sorry. I made a mistake. All right. Come on back in here. All right. Um, so if by prepaying $331, we can get rid of a bunch of debt. I need to put my link back in here so you guys can come to YouTube if you need to see what we're doing. Let me get my YouTube link for you, and we'll put it back in here. All right. And there we go. Share, copy. There it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and put that back in here. What is going on? This thing is crazy. All right. I don't know what's going on with Clubhouse today. All right. But it keeps shutting down. All right. So anyway, all right. So here's where we are. I need you all to get this. I need you all to get this. So what we're doing here, folks, I am so sorry. I don't know why Clubhouse keeps shutting down everybody. Forgive me. I need to bring somebody else up on stage so I can moderate them. Can I get one person to come on stage so I can moderate them so that if I do something crazy, it won't shut the room down? Can I get one person to come up? Raise your hand. Come up, Don. Can you come up? Okay, thank you, Fatima. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. So how you doing, Fatima? All right. And all right, great. All right. So we got some other moderators here to keep the room from shutting down. I am so sorry. The room just kept shutting down. All right. So now we are in a situation where we can see that only $329. All right. Let's go to YouTube so you can see it. All right. $329 can remove one line from our amortization schedule and save us this $2,331 in interest we never have to pay. We have never been taught that I can eliminate that. I need you to see also that all the principal payments added up for 1 year come to $4,000. 4,000, okay? $4,063.23, and the amount of interest in 1 year amounts to $27,800. So in other words, if I don't know how to look at this thing, to pay this loan down starting at $400,000, doing it the bank's way, to pay it down to $395, $936.77. Oh, you can't hear anything. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me now? On Clubhouse.
I can hear you.
You can hear me now. Hold on.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me now? Uh-oh, something's.
I can hear you. It's in Clubhouse. We can hear you. I don't know what other place.
Okay, good. All right, great. Thank you for letting me know. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. All right. So if I know that I'm going to pay $4,000 towards this debt, all right, in 1 year, that's all the principal payments added up. What if I had the $4,000 that I could put on the debt right away? What would happen? I'm going to put a calculator on the screen so you can see this. This is what Mr. Ramsey needs to understand, but him. So he went into understanding debt, and so he calls himself stupid. So he calls other people stupid by making certain financial decisions. Don't do that. Okay. So now, if I have $400,000, okay, I got $400,000, and then I subtract this right here, what I would pay over 1 year, $4,063.23. So I'm going to subtract $4,063.23. It equals $395,936.77. That's what I have here on line 12 on my amortization schedule. Do you see that? So here's what I'm saying. If I do it the bank's way by making 12 monthly payments on time, it costs me $27,000 of my money just so that I can pay the bank $4,000 towards the principal. In other words, I have to pay out $4,000, okay, $63.23 plus 27,871.29 equals 31,934.52. You know how else I can get to $31,934.52? And if I take the mortgage payment, okay, of 2661.21 and multiply it by 12, comes to the same thing. $934.52. That's how much is paid out in a year. But if I do it the bank's way, they get to discount it by $27,871. So only $4,000 is left to put on the loan. If I give the bank the $4,000 up front, I'm paid down to here in 1 month, and all the interest that I will pay is the $2,333.33 on line 1. So there's a way to pay my loan down by $4,000 and only give the bank $2,300 in interest instead of the $27,800 they're looking for. So, do you see what I mean here? Now, what would happen if I lower the interest rate? Okay, so I'm going to lower the interest rate to 5% on the same loan. So we're going to lower it to 5%. Okay, there we go. Take this payment out. Take this out. Okay, we're going to lower the interest rate to 5%. And now look at my payment. It's $21.47. All right. My other payment, is $23.33. My payment is $21.47. So it's less. But look at the principal payment. It starts out at $482 instead of $329. So look at my second payment here. It's $329.79 at the 7%. My second payment at the 5% is $482.63. So now once I make my payment, I have to come up with $482.63 to get rid of one line instead of $329. $329.79. Look at that. Now, look at how much principal I would need to pay to get rid of 1 year off this loan. Okay. If you're fortunate enough to have $4,063, you can eliminate 1 year's worth of payments off this mortgage. Pay this on line 1. And now you're on line 13 for February. If you start this loan in January and you give the bank the $4,063 up front, your next payment will be on line 13 of your mortgage. Okay. You cut out $25,000 worth of interest you never have to pay by giving them that. This is what I see because I have autism spectrum disorder. These are the patterns that I see that I'm now sharing with the entire world. So there's no need to call people dumb. There's no need to call them stupid. There's no need to tell them you should only use cash. In fact, oh Lord, have mercy. Let me put it to you this way. If I have cash, if I have enough cash to pay for a house, cash, $400,000, that means I'm taking it out of some sort of investment that's making quite a bit of money, maybe somewhere between 6 and 10% interest on my money. When we show you the P.I.L.L method and understanding how to read an amortization schedule, ladies and gentlemen, then what happens is you learn how to borrow the money at like 1% or less. If I can borrow money at 1% or less, What am I doing taking $400,000 out of my investment that's making 6 to 10%? Is that a smart financial play? If I can learn how to borrow that, well, Don, prove it to me. Prove it to me that we can borrow money at. Let me pull up some things for you here. Let me pull up some things for you. Okay. Let me see here. That's the stuff we did on Dave Ramsey this morning. So let me go here and pull some of these up. I got this one we can pull up. All right. I got this commercial example. All right. I got somebody with a bunch of credit cards. All right. And there we go. All right. So we're going to open these 4 so you guys can see them. All right. And look at this. Here's somebody with $188,000 in debt with a mortgage. All right. Hey, Ken, what's going on, man?
What's going on, bro?
I wish you were here earlier because the app was messing up. I'm blaming it on the app when it was actually me. For some reason, I was clicking on something and was turning the room off. You know, we had quite a few people in here, but most of them came back. Most of them came back because it wasn't, so shut it down early. So I wish you were here earlier to keep me from making these mistakes because you're good at this stuff.
I'm sorry, I had an appointment this morning. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So here's somebody with, look at this, $188,000 with a mortgage. But look at them. Look at they had 10 credit cards, $73,000 in debt. When they came to us, they showed us this and they were ashamed of their credit card debt. Why were they ashamed of having $73,800 in credit card debt? Because somebody taught them to be ashamed and they almost didn't come at all. You see what a bad attitude does about having debt, but not knowing how to eliminate the debt. So now, and we're going to go back. We're going to keep telling you that this is not your fault. This is not your fault. It's not your fault that this wasn't taught in grade school. It's not your fault that it wasn't taught in junior high or high school or college. It's not your fault if you are a real estate agent and they didn't teach you how mortgages actually work. Not your fault, because this isn't taught anywhere. We did a whole study on this, a ton of research, even using AI. You know what we realized? You know what we found out? That no school in America is teaching what we're teaching you today. No school in America is teaching you how to beat an amortization schedule, how prepayment actually works to save interest, and how you can optimize interest saving. Meaning, if you pay the right amount at the right time on the right loan, you can make your dollar kill more interest per dollar than if you do it at any other time with any other amount. So not only are you eliminating interest, but you can eliminate interest per dollar. You can maximize how much interest you can eliminate with $1. Or you can do something different and you can save less money per dollar if you don't do it correctly. So our AI system makes sure that all of your pennies work as hard as they possibly can. So that's why you can use your same budget and kill a lot of interest. So with the same budget, well, look at this. The bank wanted them to pay $349,000 in interest. They're going to pay $97,000 in interest instead, which means for them, they would need to have an interest rate of 2.23 across the board on all of their loans to accomplish this goal. They are going to cut their interest costs by 72%, meaning we're saving them $252,000. Now, if more people knew that, they would be able to use their current budget and easily get out of debt in 7.7 years instead of the 29.8 8 years they are looking at. Do you see what we mean here? Let me pull up another one. Okay. Here's another one. Now, what I've nicknamed this one velocity banking gone wrong. Velocity banking, the concepts work, but if you don't have the wherewithal to use the right amounts at the right time, this thing can get away from you. So this velocity banking got away from this person. They have $201,000 in debt, in credit card debt. Dave Ramsey, what would Dave Ramsey say about this? You have a mortgage of $634,000, a 30-year mortgage, and credit cards, 12 credit cards, averaging 10.95% across all the cards, and you have $201,000 worth of credit card debt on top of your mortgage, on top of 3 other loans, for a total of $1,033,000 in debt. How would Dave Ramsey look at that? What would Dave Ramsey say about this person? What do you think? Would Dave Ramsey say that's stupid? Would Dave Ramsey think that's wrong? And in fact, would somebody feel comfortable with coming to Dave with this information? They felt comfortable coming to us. Why? Because when we look at all this debt and know that they have money left over, we start smiling. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the bank wants, the bank wants $692,000 worth of interest on this debt and wants them to be in debt for 36 years. It will take them 36 years to pay this debt off using the minimum payments. Instead, by using the P.I.L.L method and our opportunity cost calculator, they're going to be out of debt in 9 years. Okay. For them to do that means they're only going to pay about $179,954 in interest. We can tell them that before they even start. Okay. That means we're going to save them over $500,000 worth of interest they don't have to pay the bank. You see, all of the interest charges are suggestions from the bank. They're not written in stone. You can give the bank back their money when they're not expecting it, and it makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. Did you know that? Any money you give your bank, your credit card, your car loan, your student loan, any money you give them when they're not expecting it, makes it impossible for them to charge you interest on that amount of money. Oh my gosh. And we tell you exactly what to pay and when to do it. Mr. Ramsey, stop calling people stupid. Stop making it their fault. It's not our fault that we didn't get this in school because they weren't teaching it in school. They're only teaching it at the P.I.L.L method. So they can be out of debt in 9 years instead. That means if they're going to pay $179,000 or $180,000 in interest instead of the $692,000 the bank wants, look at this. That means they'd have to have an interest rate of 1.1% to do this. This is what we call the effective interest rate, folks. How would you like to borrow money at 1.1% instead of at 7? Instead of at 6, instead of at 3. My goodness. So if you have a higher interest rate, don't wait till the interest rates come down because it's going to be harder to pay the loan off at a lower rate than the rates are right now. If you can afford the house, if you can afford your payment at 7%, get your house now. Don't wait for the interest rates to come down to 5. And if you're at 7 right now, do not refinance to 5 when the interest rates finally come down. And they will, but don't refinance to 5. Never refinance to get a lower interest rate. You make it harder to pay the loan off cheaper and faster. You see, everything that we've ever been taught about loans actually keeps us in debt longer because it costs more to manage the debt. So let's go back. Let me look at a commercial loan. I've used this one before. $2.2 million worth of debt here. Okay. Averaging 4.34% interest rate. All right. Now, even though it is averaging 4.34%, the bank still wants $1,123,000 on these commercial properties. $1,123,000. We showed this entrepreneur, this real estate investor, how they can pay only $231,000 in debt, in interest, saving them $891,000 in interest, meaning the effective interest rate is 0.67%. That's less than 1%, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me tell you, what if this person had $2.2 million in cash? I received a phone call not too long ago from someone that lives in Denver, Colorado. The house is gorgeous. And they asked me, Don, should I pay cash for the house? They had the cash. Or should they borrow the money? Hands down, I said borrow the money. Hands down, they had money to pay for it cash. There's two ways to go about this. Here's the first way. Get a loan from the bank. Okay? Get a loan from the bank to buy the house. Leave your $2.2 million in your investment, making somewhere between 6 and 10%, and then pay it off using the P.I.L.L method. And the interest, so we're going to cut your interest by 79% while your money continues to work. We're going to reduce your interest cost on this by $891,000, and you're going to end up paying $231,000 in interest instead, using your current budget. While your money, your $2 million, is still making money for you in your investment. Or you can do what some of the rich and powerful do. If they have the money and they were used to working in cash all the time, their credit profile, even though they have the money, their credit profile may not allow them to get a loan for $2.2 million. So what they could do is take the money, the cash that they have, pay for the house. Now they have a paid off house. They have an asset that they can now take to the bank and say, you know what? Can you put debt on this for me and get 80, 90% of that money right back and put it right back into their investment? That's what some of the rich and powerful do. They pay for something cash and then they put debt on it. If we use debt properly, it's called leveraging, ladies and gentlemen. P.I.L.L stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. If you want to know more about this, not only do we give you an AI system, but you get coaching from us to understand how to develop strategies so that you can go here. If you come to me with $201,000 worth of credit card debt and a mortgage of $634,000 and 3 other loans of $197,000, we can show you how to be out of debt in 9 years. Look at that. And you can live well while you're doing it. You don't have to eat beans and rice and ramen every day to accomplish this. No, you don't. We're going to show you how you can live well without having to sacrifice a decent lifestyle. We're going to show you how to sacrifice the bank's interest, how to give back their money without giving them all of that interest. So more of your money does what it's supposed to do, pay back the loan and not pay interest. It's as simple as that. But our program is going to tell you exactly what to do to save the most interest. Now, do you need our system to pay a debt off early? No, you do not. Do you need our system to save some money in interest? No, you do not. People have been paying off debt for a long time, even before I started this business. but we're the only game in town that optimizes interest savings. What does optimize interest savings mean? It means that you're going to pay the least amount of interest that's mathematically possible for you when you use our AI system that looks at all of the debt and all the money you have available and performing over 3 million calculations per day to tell you the exact thing to do daily. It's crazy how we can use computers now to save us more money. Well, Don, I still don't get it. Well, try to think of it this way. When you put $1 on debt when the bank isn't looking for it, what if this $1 could save you $6 in interest? Do you want to use your same dollar just to save you $3 in interest instead? Now you're saving, but you're not saving 6, you're only saving 3. You're going to be in debt 50% longer. Not good. So why not have an AI system that says, put exactly this much money on the debt on this day. And when you're optimizing, and I need you to listen to me carefully here. When you're optimizing of the money you have available, you're putting the least amount of money on the debt that you have available. The least amount. That's what leverage is all about. When you go to the grocery store, you want to pay the least amount at the cash register to bring out the most in groceries you can. You want to pay the least amount for that, don't you? Yes, you do. When you buy gas, are you using your Gas Buddy app? I know I used to use my Gas Buddy app. Well, I have an electric vehicle now. Okay, so I used to use my Gas Buddy app to find out where the cheapest gas was on my route home. So I wasn't particular about which gas station it was. I just want to know, how can I use the least amount of money to buy the most gas? We're always looking for the least amount to get the most out of it. But what we're taught is put as much money on debt as you possibly can to get rid of it as fast as you can. And when you do that, you're violating the law of diminished return, meaning you could put too much money on debt at the wrong time, which gets in the way of you taking the excess money that you're putting on debt. What if you took the excess money and put it into an investment over here? Pay the right amount of money towards the debt to get rid of it. Then take any money that you don't need to put on debt and put it in an investment over here. So now you're making money on both ends. Well, Don, how can I be making money when I'm paying it out? This is how you need to look at it. A penny saved is a penny earned. But when you put that money on your debt, a penny saved is like 10 pennies earned, meaning you have more money to put in your investment over here. So by working with the P.I.L.L method, we have certified financial planners that work with us so that you can optimize investing and debt elimination all at the same time. Mr. Ramsey, why don't you just send the people to the P.I.L.L method where we can treat them well, make them feel good about themselves, and give them the right information and attitude towards money and the right attitude towards debt, instead of calling them stupid and telling them that they're making stupid decisions. Who wants to listen to that? Now, I'm not saying he's not successful. Mr. Ramsey is very successful. In fact, when I'm driving up 65, because I live in Huntsville, I'm driving up 65 going north. He has a brand new building that you can see off the side of the road, Ramsey Solutions. Okay. Very successful in what he does. There's enough people out there. All right. There's enough people out there that do. Somebody put something in here. David Lucas investing 200. No. We don't want to do that, Dave. We don't do that here. Okay. This is a pill method room. Oh, okay. I don't know what it is you're doing, but we don't need to do that. So let's get rid of that. Okay. So, folks, if you want to know how to get rid of your debt, if you want to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free, why not do this? Why not do this? Go to ice10k.com. Okay. Ice10k.com. Why not go to ice10k.com and scroll down and click on the button that says get a free savings and earnings report? Why not do that? You could do that today. Okay. Do it today and learn how to save the maximum amount of interest you can. We can tell you the month, day, and year you're going to be debt free. You can find that out within 48 hours. Huh? Yes, you can find it out within 48 hours how you can save a ton of money. The month and stop and then get out of this mindset that your debt situation is your fault. You can get the education we were supposed to receive while we were in school. Do I have any questions? Okay. Do I have any questions about anything that you've heard? Okay. Do I have any questions? So if you like what you've heard, put a number 9 in the chat. If you like what you've heard today, put a number 9 in the comment section, put a number 9 in the chat. If you like what you've heard today, that we should not feel bad about our debt situation, that we can get out of that debt trap. Okay. Thank you, Martina. Okay. You can get out of the debt trap if you have the right attitude about money and do not let the pain, let's call it what it is. It's money trauma. Dave Ramsey has been traumatized by money and he's projecting his money trauma on all of the people that follow him. And you shouldn't do that. Let's give people something positive to do. Let's help them to think positively about money. And if they've made a mistake in the past, let's not call it that. Let's call it a learning opportunity. So that people, no matter what they're doing, no matter what they're trying to learn, they will not look at failures as a negative. They will look at it as a positive. I have just found one more way that it doesn't work. That's all failure means to me. Because if I didn't look at it that way, ladies and gentlemen, when I was building this business over the last 20 years, okay, in April, our business will be 20 years old. And if you go to, if you Google us, you'll find out how popular the P.I.L.L method actually is. If you go to our Better Business Bureau, you'll find out that we have an A+ rating with Better Business Bureau with no complaints in 20 years. How is that? Because we take care of our clients. We give them 5-star customer service and the best financial information out there when it comes to dealing with debt. We will, and I'm putting that out there, we will be bigger than Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman combined, because I believe that having a positive attitude, positive energy will get you farther in life than negative energy. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think being positive and helping people to appreciate themselves and the financial decisions that they make, and let them know that there are some financial decisions that take you in the wrong direction, and there are other financial decisions that take you in the right direction? Do you think it's going to be better to let them know that this is something that you can learn from, instead of saying, yeah, that was stupid? Come on, Dave. So maybe, just maybe, we can inspire Mr. Ramsey, all of us can inspire Mr. Ramsey to be more positive and to teach people how all of this is supposed to work. Okay, what do you guys think? Well, listen, I absolutely love what it is that we do here at the P.I.L.L Method. The people that we've been able to help over the last 20 years is great. The people that have learned how to manage debt, great. People that have learned how to leverage debt, great. Okay. Question. If you get on the radar in such a public way, won't the banks quickly write penalties? You know, and listen, similar to prepayment penalties. Well, did you realize that in Canada, there are already prepayment penalties on residential real estate? In America, there are only prepayment penalties on commercial real estate. Okay. But can I tell you, Carrie, that I actually like prepayment penalties? I actually do. I wish you could come to the stage and we could talk about it. Can I show you some positive things about prepayment penalties? All right. So I had a client in Canada, because if you pay a certain amount at the wrong time, you will trigger a prepayment penalty. And here's what you find out. When you have a prepayment penalty, they only tell you what the penalty is. That's all they tell you. If you prepay, we're going to charge you. And in fact, if you go to a banking institution in Canada and go to their website, some of them actually have a calculator to calculate what your prepayment penalty will be. Did you know that? Yeah, you can calculate what your prepayment penalty will be. But guess what? I need you to change the word penalty to cost. And then ask this question. How much does it cost to prepay? All right. Now, here's what I told this client. And they were afraid of the prepayment penalty. But what I shared with them is, here's how much interest you will save if you do this. If you go about it this way, here's how much interest you will save. They were going to save $100,000 in interest. Now we have some information we did not have before. We didn't have this before. We didn't have how much money we would save by prepaying. Now, if I know how much money I'm going to save in one hand, I'm going to save $100,000 over here. Now let's do the calculation on how much money it will cost me to prepay. Here we go. We found out it was going to cost $1,200 in penalties to save $100,000. What do you think these people did? Carrie, what do you think they did? Okay. You see, if we don't understand how an amortization schedule works, they would have to totally revamp everything. And there are so few people. There are millions upon millions upon millions of mortgages. They're still going to make money off the mortgage. They still make money off of us. They just don't make as much. Okay. They still make money. They just won't make as much. So what's wrong with that? We want to live in a society where everybody wins, not just we have winners and losers. What about having winners and winners? The bank still makes money if I pay my loan off in 7 years. They get 7 years worth of interest. What's wrong with that? They just don't get 30 years worth of interest. Okay. They get 7 years worth of profit off of me. All right. Get 7 years worth of profit. That's all you get. They just don't get 30 years. They loan me money. They make money for 7 years. I pay them back and we're good. What's wrong with that? I love it. We don't have to be in debt for 30 years. So I'm not afraid of that at all. I am not afraid of that, Carrie, because if the climate changes, all we have to do is find another way to make it work. Remember the book, Who Moved My Cheese? If they change the rules, I'm not going to continue to teach the same thing. We're going to pivot and find another way to save interest. We'll just find another way to do it. We'll just rewrite our software. We'll just make changes. So listen, folks, I don't want you to think that you're ever going to get in trouble. It's ever going to cause you a problem to save money. Never. Nope. Don't even think that way. Don't start thinking that way at all. I want you all to start thinking of this in a way that's going to benefit you from now on. Okay? The way to do that is, okay, just Carrie says, just concerned that if you make some noise about this, they might write in some sabotage. Yeah, listen, you know how they look at me? They don't. I've been doing this for 20 years. Dave Ramsey has been telling people not to use loans at all for a lot longer. And the banking institutions don't listen to him either. Listen, he's been doing it a lot longer than I have. And what they know is there's going to be many more people who borrow money in a way that benefits the banks. Many more. Even when I'm dead and gone and the P.I.L.L method as a business survives, there's still going to be more people that borrow money the old way than to do it this way. But we are gaining popularity. We are helping those people who want help, and they get help. So we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. All right? We're going to keep doing what we've been doing. Do I have any other questions or comments about this? Can I get some people to come to the stage? All right. If you want to come to meet with me on YouTube, let me get my I'm going to get my link and put it in the chat here on the comment section in YouTube right here. And if you want to come and ask me some questions live and as part of our studio audience, that's the link. Take that StreamYard link, open up your browser in your Chrome browser and put it in there, and you can come into our studio right here, right now, and ask some questions live. Even if you disagree with what we're talking about, it will be a healthy conversation for everybody involved. Okay? I love having a conversation, and people learn if there are different, even if they're different. I can't even talk today. Even if you have a different opinion than mine. Okay? That's okay. That's okay. But what I don't want you to do, okay, says, how can we become certified P.I.L.L method advisor? Is this an option? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So call the office. Okay. We're putting together for this year. Okay. We're putting together a course. It's going to cost around $6,400. We're putting a course together that you can become a P.I.L.L method advisor, and it's almost done. Okay. But it will cost around $6,400. But we're going to teach you how to do this. But do you know another way to do this? You can manage your debt using the P.I.L.L method. All right. And have your debt pay for your lifetime program. And we will still instruct you as if you were in our course. How about that? So why pay for the course and pay for the P.I.L.L method program when you can just get the P.I.L.L method program, manage your debt? You only want to take the course if you don't have any debt. Does that make sense, Martina? Because you can learn. Listen, I have people that have been using the program for years that can explain it almost as well as I can, because they've been using the program. They've gotten benefit from the program, and they get coaching along the way so that they understand it like we understand it. Okay? And they're helping their friends understand P.I.L.L methodology as well. So there's a couple of ways. So you can take the course once it's finished if you don't have any debt. But if you do have debt, get our program. All right, manage your debt, pay off all of your debt in about 7 years, cut your interest cost by 75%. And the interest that you don't pay the bank pays for your lifetime program. And it's a lifetime program. You're with us for life. Instead of taking a course, okay, for 6 days and costing $6,400. Okay, then you're done. But if you have our program, if you have debt, you have it for a lifetime, and you pay once. You pay once for life. That's it. So Martina, I wish you well. So if you want to talk to me about it, Martina, please feel free. Call the office, and I'm going to put that number in the chat. All right. 256-886-1867. I'm putting that out on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere else. And I'm going to put it in Clubhouse as well. All right. 256-886-1867. All right. And I have a light day today. So call and leave a message for me to call you back. All right. They'll try to put you through, but very rarely am I available like that. But leave a message. I'm calling to talk to Don. Have him call me back. Okay. Make sure we have your number correctly. Have your number correct. And the person that answers the phone will make sure that I get the message. Martina, it's going to be a pleasure to talk with you. All right. Anybody else got any questions today about what's going on with the P.I.L.L method? How this is not your fault? Does it make sense? Does it make sense that we have been led down the wrong path by whatever financial decisions we've made in the past? That most people are in the financial shape they're in, not because they're irresponsible with money. I'm just telling you, only a small percentage of people have been irresponsible with their money. Most people who are in financial trouble have not been irresponsible. Most people who are in financial trouble have followed the advice of financial gurus and put themselves deeper in debt, deeper in a situation, because they're not paying attention to how much interest they're losing. I call it interest consumption. Okay. When you have, let me put this back on the screen. Okay. Let me put my calculator back on the screen and let me show you what I mean. Okay. Let's put this back on the screen. And there we go. Boom. All right. So we have this back on the screen. Now, you can have your debt, and the average family has 13 different debts. Okay. And 35 to 39% of their income pays interest alone. That's a lot of money. That's a huge amount. I've seen it as high as 50%. 50% of, and I'm not talking about the entire payment. I'm just talking about adding up, like here, the interest payments right here. You see this right here, the interest payments on this debt. Okay, look at this. Let me get rid of this here. All right, this, and recalculate that. Okay, look here, $2,661.21 is the payment. Look how much interest they're losing. $2,000 a month, $2,300 a month. That's a lot of loss. Okay, that's a lot of waste. I got to come up with a whole $2,600, and that's just principal and interest, not talking about the taxes and insurance. I got to come up with a whole $2,600 just so that the bank could discount it by $2,300. And I'm only left with $327.88 to pay on my mortgage. That's a lot of loss. I don't want to lose that kind of money. Let's stop doing that. Okay? Let's stop losing that kind of money. Let's do this instead. Let's turn this around where if I give them this money when they're not expecting it, I don't have to pay them that. And I can give the bank back their money in a way that makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. You see, that's the weakness in this system that nobody told us. If I do it the bank's way, every single month they get to charge me for 360 months. We fix it so they can only charge you for about 84 months. And I think they should get paid for the service that they render. I just don't think they should get paid for 30 years. You know, just think about it. There are houses that cost $250,000 that you can get a 30-year loan on. There are cars that cost over $300,000, but you can only get a 7-year loan on those cars max. So if a $300,000 car needs to be paid off in 7 years, because you can't get a 30-year loan on a $300,000 car, I don't care how you slice it. They're not going to do it, but they will lend you $300,000 for 30 years on a house. Why can't we treat our house more like a car? Why can't we learn how to do that? How can we borrow money and pay it back in a way that we can still go on vacation, that our kids can still enjoy going to having lessons, music lessons, or going and playing baseball or soccer, or just being able to go out and have some fun. All right. Listen, can I get more people on the stage if you have any questions? Because Ken is looking out for you. Ken will bring you up. Just raise your hand. We can talk about it. But here's what I need. Here's what I need you to understand and to do for me, ladies and gentlemen. Stop letting Dave Ramsey and others make you feel bad about your financial situation. Just don't do it. It's not healthy. It's not right to be negative all the time, because you miss opportunities that being positive and having an attitude of gratitude, you miss opportunities that will come to you because those opportunities are positive in nature. So this is why you don't get that when you come to the P.I.L.L method. You don't get negativity when you come here. You get support, you get understanding, and we let you know this is the right way to leverage. P.I.L.L stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, meaning how much do you pay and when do you pay, leverage, how to pay the least amount at the right time, and liquidity, how to look at all of your finances, the money that you have in the bank, your cash, your credit cards, all of that, how to use all of that money correctly. Leverage money and cash. How do they work together for good? Okay, that's what we talk to you about. How do you listen? You should be getting paid to use your credit cards. Don't cut your credit cards up. Don't get rid of your credit cards. Learn how to use them in a way that benefits you. Okay, that's what you need to do. All right, Martina, let's bring you up. Martina, there you go. Martina, do you have a question or comment?
Okay, so my question is, good morning, everyone. And thanks for allowing me to ask the question.
Sure.
So with you gave a car example where if it's $300,000 for a car and you could pay that off for 7 years, then wouldn't that same principle apply to credit cards or any other debt aside from a mortgage?
Yes, ma'am. And that's why we need to understand credit cards better. Do you have a question about credit cards today?
I do. So when you say the credit card should pay you, um, explain more about how that, or how we can learn about how to get paid by using the credit card or having the card as a benefit, as opposed to it always being quote unquote equivalent to debt.
Okay, let's talk about that. So just keep your mic open because we're going to have a discussion here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So here's what I'm talking about right now. Are you working right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not. Yeah. I mean, I work later on today, but yes.
Yeah. All right. So you are working. So when you get paid, is your money direct deposited in your bank?
Yeah.
In what kind of account?
Right now it's just going to my regular checking account, and then I'll transition it over to either a high yield savings account or brokerage account.
Okay. So it comes into your checking account, and then you transfer it over. Okay.
Correct.
So and then how do you pay your bills? Is it all do you do mostly electronic, or do you write checks?
Electronic, or either I'll just call them and just pay it over the phone.
Okay. But it comes out of your checking account.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what you could do. Most of the people that will take your real check or your electronic check over the phone, right?
Yeah.
Will they take your credit card as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you pay a bill, give me an amount. Don't tell me what the bill is. Give me any old amount that pays one of your bills per month. Give me that amount.
$86.
$86. So if I put $86 on my credit card, okay, I still have $86 in my bank, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay. So what if I put that on a credit card that gives me reward points?
Aha. Yes.
I still have the money in my bank to pay the card off, don't I?
Yeah.
If I pay it off before they charge me interest, before the bill becomes due, they don't pay any interest on that, do I?
No.
And I didn't pay anything for my reward points, did I?
No.
So the bank is actually paying me to use their money.
Aha. Yes.
You see, my wife and I, if you looked at our Instagram or our Facebook page, we go on a lot of trips. Okay.
So you gain your reward points and you can, utilize them, or
and we fly first class.
That's my next goal. Yeah.
And not because I'm rich.
Right.
Because I got points.
Right. And you utilize the points instead of utilizing your cash.
Yes.
Or your.
So, listen, our vacuum cleaner took a dump, so I had to buy a new vacuum cleaner. So did I use cash or did I use my card?
You used your card.
Exactly. And when I'll pay the card off and whatever points I get. So I have an American Express Platinum card. So talk to me.
Okay. So with that, I'm picking up what you put down. So when we go to Dubai,
yes,
then we need to utilize the card for the points to obtain points to then on our next go round fly first class instead of paying out of pocket first class, instead of going back into debt, to have that luxury experience of flying first class, going anywhere really. But yeah.
But if you're going to Dubai, we went business class. I couldn't tell the difference between business class and first class, to tell you the truth.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I couldn't tell the difference. So, but business class was cheaper. That's all I know.
Oh, well, let's go with that then. See,
I went business class. When we went to Dubai, I went business class. And then, and and I'm not an experienced traveler, especially that was my first long haul trip,
Mine too.
okay. And so when they came to me and says, okay, they brought me a little bundle. Guess what was in the bundle? I had pajamas,
Yes, slippers,
slippers,
and then you were able to get in the shower.
in the shower, okay, and it was a big old bathroom. I felt like I was at home, not the little tiny airplane bathroom.
Bathroom, right. Love it.
They had
And then you had a robe, I think.
a robe, and I had and then they said, Mr. Daniel, can we make up your bed? What? The whole seat lays down into a bed, and then they put a little mattress on it.
Yes. And then they bring you, you can have any experience of beverage, any experience of food.
And the food is on demand, not at certain times.
I love it.
Listen, they put a tablecloth on. They put a little light on there. It wasn't a real candle, but it was a fake candle. I mean, the atmosphere. My wife was sitting right next to me, and we can have a partition between us. It was in a quad. Okay, I didn't know what a quad was. I do know now, quad situation, and so we're doing it. Listen, we're flying in style on points.
See, this is the best. And gaining a luxury experience that is better than just regular class.
Yep.
But
you see, I didn't want to be sitting up for like 14, 18 hours. I don't want to do that.
Because it was painful. Let me just say, it was painful. But the good news is that they feed you every 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Then they come by and see if you need anything. They give you fresh cloth to wipe your face, or warm cloth, I should say, and that. But I was looking at it, and I just said, you know what? For that amount of time, yes, it pays to be in the comfort as opposed to just, if you can afford it, it's just better on your body, and then So
just imagine, because I buy tires, because I buy vacuum cleaners, because I have to pay for gas and food. All right. Why not put it on my credit card to build up the points? I have over the years, I've built up over a million points. So I'm a points millionaire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my next goal then. Okay, I like it.
And then when I get a new card, I get a card that says, okay, you get this card from American Express, and then we get the cards with points on it. Okay? So I get that point. Now, Los was in here for a hot minute. He would have been able to tell you a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't know. He left. Okay? So listen, let me give you something else to think about here, just as a side note. All right, before I forget, because I wanted to bring this up earlier. The CFPB, okay, has now been shut down. Okay, CFPB. Let me put this up here. Okay, I'm putting it on the screen. CFPB. All right. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. All right. If you go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau online, this is what you see. Page not found. Page not found. I hope, because Los is in here every Friday talking about better ways to manage your debt and everything. And the CFPB, there are certain benefits you can get from this agency that the president has just shut down. You don't get those benefits anymore. So remember, like I said, when you're doing things and you're depending on them to be the same, they don't stay the same. So without the CFPB there to with giving oversight to the banks, now we have to pivot. Guess what? I don't know. I don't know what the pivot is. So I'm going to be listening to Los on Friday, hoping that he talks about this. All right. So somebody go ahead and invite Los in here. Maybe he can give us some information on this right now. Okay. On what we can do because of the pivot. What can we do now? Because the CFPB has been taken down. Everything that is that gives us oversight, everything that is put in place to help American consumers they're taking it away. Okay. Now, one of the things that I found out is that these consumer protection agencies were investigating Elon Musk. And when they removed the head of these agencies, it has stalled all the investigation on Elon Musk. Can you imagine having that kind of power?
No, that's a lot of power.
What if you had a complaint that you had that has not been resolved, but it's sitting on somebody's desk at the CFPB? Nothing is being done now with your situation. Nothing. How can they do that? Where are the protections? Okay. Now they're cutting off funding for public schools. Public schools are now losing funding. And these people are saying, we voted for this man, but we didn't know he was going to cut off our funding. Okay.
They would yeah. What they would have known had they read that Project 2025 a little further.
Okay. So what I'm saying, folks, things are going to change, but when they do change, don't lament the change. Find out how to pivot. And guess what? I don't know what the pivot is. So guess where I'm going to be Friday morning? Right here.
In class.
In class, in the mortgage syndicate, listening to Los. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever we need to do to protect ourselves, we need to find out from an expert who can easily pivot. Okay. Says, hey, Democrats failed. You know, the thing is, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, we need to figure out how Don is going to survive no matter who's in power.
This is true.
Okay. Because it's going to change. I don't know how long it's going to take, but Democrats will be in power. But I still need to know how Don is going to benefit no matter who is in charge of the government, no matter what they do. What can I do to make sure that I can be here making some donuts for my family? When I kissed my wife this morning, I said, I'm headed to the office to do the show. She said, okay, making some donuts. Okay, making some donuts. All right. So this is what you see, folks, when you go to the CFPB and any other protection agencies that are out there that are for our good. Listen, everything that's in place that says, okay, here's our checks and balances. I need you all to pay attention to this because it matters. The checks and balances for people in government and for people in business, the checks and balances are not just being changed, they're being shut down. So what does that mean? What does that mean when they tried to take away Dodd-Frank, when they tried to take away everything that is put in there for our protection? What is going to happen when a government official does something they're not supposed to do, but everybody who has put in place to oversee that government official and what they're doing and seeing if it's wrong or not, they've all been fired. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is not good. So do we get mad and complain and go on YouTube and make TikTok videos about how mad we are? Or do we look for opportunities here to see how we can still benefit in this society? Because if we continue to go back to where our cheese used to be, we will still find no cheese and we will be in trouble.
This is true.
There's still cheese. I just need to find out the new place. What do you got to say about that, Martina?
I agree, because the quicker we can pivot and change on a dime is the new vein that we need to be in, as opposed to, oh, well, the spirit of procrastination, as I call it.
Mhm.
Oh, well, I'll just wait and see. Oh, well, I'm just going to do this. No, you cannot proceed in life as we did back in 2020 or 1999 or
Mhm.
anything. That the whole trajectory of this new society has changed and is changing daily. I mean, everyone should be on a daily alert, a daily update of what's going on, what changes have been made, because as you so eloquently put, it's affecting everyone in ways that were unimaginable, uh, that we'd be affected. So the quicker and the more swifter that we are to implement the change with application, I think would put us in a better position, as you said, to navigate these waters, no matter what they look like. Because they said, I was reading something where it said, God didn't move the Red Sea, or he didn't move the situation. He parted the Red Sea for Moses to go through.
Yes. Okay. Exactly. So the difficulty wasn't removed. It was just prepared for them to go through whatever situation there was. The Red Sea was still there.
Exactly.
Okay. Was still there. What can we do now with our Red Sea, with the changes in government? No matter who you voted for, there's a lot of stuff that's against you now.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Are you going to lament it? Even if you voted for him, even if you voted for the man, I'm
Right.
not going to come behind you and say, I told you so. I'm not going to make you feel bad about your choice. We're all in
Right.
the same boat now. What are we going to do?
Right. We're going to have to get educated.
Yep.
And this is where reading and listening and intentionally seeking information, because that's what my primary goal was. When I saw the first 5 days of all of the changes that were implemented,
Mhm.
I immediately, because I had never been on Clubhouse before, this,
Mhm.
in an intentional capacity. And I said, you know what? It's time to stay alert. It's time to stay woke. It's time to get up and be able to change on a dime, whatever that looks like. Be it like we're talking about now, be it financially, be it mortgage wise, so you're not sitting here stressed out behind a job or anything of that sort. Oh well, what if? Because I work in education, so
Come on.
you know.
Come on.
Okay, you have to be in a posture where you can change and be able to move no matter what the season is and no matter what comes your way. You have to be able to navigate these waters so that, like you said, you can make the donuts, whether that be in your same capacity or a different capacity. Um, and that's the thing. And then you need to be able to, like you said, be able to deliver the information or either provide where the information is coming from so that you can educate others so that if they drown, they're not going to drown because of lack of knowledge. They're going to drown because they didn't apply the knowledge that was provided to them as promptly as it was provided.
Exactly. So listen, we got to move at the speed of instruction. So I'm going to be here Friday to see what Blows has to say, because I think he's an expert on this, and I'm hoping he brings it up. But guess what? If nobody else brings it up, I can ask the question, can I?
Yeah.
What do we do now? Okay. Well, because of the protections that are being removed for consumers, what can we do now? So Dave Ramsey, who was using 90-day loans, okay,
Mm-hmm.
to build his real estate empire. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He used a lot of them. So there's nothing wrong with short-term debt, but how much short-term debt do you have? And how many are you using? But he used too many.
Mm-hmm.
He was assuming that this would continue. But when everything fell apart, he lost his $3 million. And he had to file bankruptcy. And so now all debt is bad. Yeah, I think that's an overreaction. Don't you, everybody? Do you think that all debt is bad is an overreaction? Or
No, I think,
go
yeah,
ahead.
no.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I apologize. I was just going to say that the debt's not bad. It's the thought process behind the debt and the emotion that is behind the rationale that causes us to implement the debt instead of banking on what we don't know. Let's bank on what we can see, because quickly there were so many people who bought vehicles that with $600 and $700 payments, and now, like you said, their jobs are pending, their
Mm-hmm.
mortgages are pending. They don't know if they're going to have a job at the end of the year,
Okay.
or in July or August. They don't know if they're going to have a job or not. But you have this 30-year mortgage hanging over your head. You have a 7-year mortgage loan. You have private schools and all these other, responsibilities going on, because we thought things were going to be the same
Mm-hmm.
as they were.
Exactly.
We didn't prepare for the worst and expect the best. So now, like you're saying, this is when that whole everyone's in a panic right now, because and this P.I.L.L method would be instrumental for everyone at this stage moving forward.
Listen, folks, let me tell you something. If you're new to the P.I.L.L method, all right, I need you to start watching our videos on YouTube. So I'm going to bring up, here's our YouTube channel. Okay. And bring up our YouTube channel. This is what it looks like. If you're, so you are on our YouTube channel. So go to our YouTube channel. Also, we're on TikTok. We're on Instagram with a lot shorter videos. We have reels and shorts on even YouTube. So if you don't want to listen to a 2-hour show to get this information, you don't have to. We have questions and answers in short form that we've edited out of the longer form video so that you can start getting information right away within. Those videos are no longer than 10 minutes. We have some between 3 and 10 minutes long. None of those videos are longer than 10 minutes. So get your information, learn what it is that we're doing. And if you're tired, if you're just tired of doing things the old way, being in debt for 30 years, find out how you can be out of debt in just 7 to 9 years on average. Now, some will take a little bit longer, all right? Some will take a little bit less. But you can go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and get that handled for yourself. So I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to call on Mr. E.T. Eric Thomas. All right. He's going to come and talk about his experience for just a few seconds. That allow me to get a quick drink of water. We'll be back in about 50 seconds. Listen to Eric Thomas and see what he has to say about the P.I.L.L method. Here we go.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
You see, folks, that's a positive way of looking at it. That's a positive way of looking at your situation, Martina. Let me give you a more negative way. Not that I traffic in negativity. I just need you to see the difference between a positive way of looking at something and a negative way of looking at something. Let's listen to what Mr. Ramsey has to say about the P.I.L.L method.
Good.
So I am more of like a future planner. Like, I don't like to think just like, where are we going to be in 5 years? Like, I'm thinking more about the mortgage when my husband graduates, because we'll have a much larger income.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard a lot about like prepaid interest or prepaid principal, and they don't really understand how that works. Like I was watching the P.I.L.L method, and then he was talking about taking out loans, and I was like, this guy's a nut. So I just stopped listening to it.
Yeah. Dave Ramsey said he is a nut, that P.I.L.L method guy. Why would he say that? You see, Dave Ramsey talks about the debt snowball, okay? And if you're looking at the debt snowball paying off the debt, can I share something with you about which debt you should be paying off and in what order? Can I share something with you about that today? Instead of saying all debt is bad, let's take a look at saying, how do we manage the debt so that we pay less interest? Okay. So now, Martina, you asked me about credit cards before. Remember that? Okay. I don't know where she went. Maybe she can come back. Open up your mic, Martina.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
All right. So now I'm gonna put this $400,000 mortgage back on. Okay.
Okay.
And so that's the average. That's the average home price in America today is 400,000. So that's not too hard to believe, is it?
No.
No, it's not too hard to believe. But if I have, by the same token, all right, let me close up some of these. By the same token, all right, if I have a mortgage like this, all right, 400,000 at what did I do with it? Okay, 400,000. What if I decide I also have a $10,000 credit card at 27%? How do I feel about that? I got a $400,000 mortgage at 7%. I don't feel bad about that because that seems okay. But what about a $10,000 credit card at 27%? How do you feel about that? You said what now?
I said that could be a little stressful.
That could be a little stressful. Now, I need you to really think about it. I owe $10,000 over here, but I owe $400,000 over here. But the $10,000 is more stressful than the $400,000. Now, let me ask you, isn't that really irrational?
Very.
It's irrational, but we're taught to think that way, aren't we?
Yes, the $400,000 should be more stressful than the $10,000.
It most certainly should, but it's not. So I need you to see something here, okay? So if you all are watching it, go to YouTube so you can see these numbers. So I'm going to show you what the interest cost is on $10,000. If you're using Brett Whistle, go ahead and put in 240 months because all credit cards are managed over 240 months. Okay, that's 27%, 240 months. The first interest payment is here. Interest only payment is $225. $225. Okay, so we see 27%, but we don't know that it means $225. Do you know some people pay a penalty rate? Okay.
Yeah. So
let's go ahead and do a penalty rate even on $10,000 and let's put in 35%. 35% interest on a penalty rate. All right. And the interest rate on that, the interest cost on that is $291. So if I know what the amount is, instead of just looking at the interest rate, doesn't that make more sense, Martina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can manage $291. I can manage $225, but somehow it's hard to manage 27 or 35% because somebody out there is going to make me feel bad about my 35% credit card. Listen, if I'm paying 35% of my credit card, are you guys telling anybody?
Nope.
We're not telling anybody. Okay. But because we don't know how to manage that, we're embarrassed about 35%. Well, I'm not. I don't get embarrassed about that. So let me show you something. If Dave Ramsey sees $10,000 on a credit card at 35% even, what is he going to tell you to do? What do you think, everybody? What is he going to tell you to do about that 35% credit card at $10,000?
Pay that off first.
Pay that off first. Okay. So if I pay it off, if I pay that off, let's say I have $10,000 in the bank. If I pay that off, and if I pay it off before it's due, will I have to pay the bank the $291 in interest?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to take $10,000 out of my bank and I'm going to pay off the $10,000 credit card, and I save $291 in interest, okay, that I don't have to pay the bank. And Dave Ramsey wants me to feel good about that I paid off a $10,000 card. So let me ask you something. What if I decide, no, I don't want to pay off the card this month? And I'm not saying we would tell you to do this. I'm just giving an example here. We wouldn't tell you to do that, but I just give you an example. I'm going to take my $10,000. Instead of paying off the card and saving myself $291, I'm going to take that $10,000 and put it on my $400,000 mortgage at 7%. Okay. And when I do that, let me show you something. I'm going to take a look at cumulative principal here. We're going to go down to $10,000. It knocks off 29 payments off my mortgage, over 2.5 years off my mortgage, and it saves me $66,800 in interest. What?
Yeah, I can sleep better with those numbers.
Okay. But if I don't know the numbers, I won't sleep good at all.
This is true.
You see, I got to know the numbers. But so if I asked you, would it be okay to pay Visa $291? Okay. Would it be okay to pay Visa $292 and take that $10,000 and put it on my mortgage so that I don't have to pay the mortgage $66,000? Would that be a good trade, everybody? So if I'm following the debt snowball method, I'm starting out on these smaller debts. I'm taking what little extra money I have, and I'm paying more than the minimum on these debts so I can get rid of the smaller debts, but they have the lower interest costs on them. So I'm paying off my credit cards. I'm paying off my personal loans. I'm paying off my car loans. I'm focusing on paying off the smaller debt, but they have the lower interest cost, while he says pay off the house last. So if I can pay off my cars that I have that we're using that are 5 and 6 year loans, all right, I'm paying off the cars in 2 years. I feel good about the fact that I paid off the car in 2 years. Okay. Let me show you a car loan. All right. Let me show you a car loan. We're going to put a car loan in here. So we're going to put in a new loan. Okay. We're going to put in a car loan. Brett Whistle. Okay. We're going to put in a car loan of $50,000. Okay. 50,000 at, we'll put it in at 6%. Look at that, 6% on the car loan. And we're going to put it in at 84 months. Now, I like the longest term possible. So we're going to do 84 months. What? See that? 84 months. And my payment on that is, I have too many zeros. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. All right. $50,000. My payment is $730. Okay. Now, let me show you the very first interest payment on this car loan. The very first interest payment is $250. That's the most interest I'll ever pay on that car loan monthly is $250. Mr. Ramsey wants me to focus on paying off my car loans that would cost me $250 and completely ignore my mortgage that's costing me $2,300. What financial sense does that make to use the debt snowball to pay off the car? I can pay off that car 3 years early listening to Mr. Ramsey. That means for 2 years, I'm saving $250 or less on my car loan, because as I get deeper into this, the interest costs get cheaper and cheaper. So I'm using money to kill $180 worth of interest, while Mr. Ramsey said it's okay to continue for the next 2 years to pay over $2,000 interest on a mortgage. And in 2 years, that's 24 months, that's $55,000 in interest that I've paid to pay off a car early, okay? That the most it was ever going to cost me on the car, if I paid every single payment, $11,000. So what I'm doing, I'm attacking the car loan so that I can pay less than $11,300 on the car. But to do that, I'm turning around and saying it's okay to pay the bank on my mortgage $55,448.86. Well, Don, that's a $400,000 mortgage. What if my mortgage is only $200,000? Okay, and it's not at 7%. Okay, it's at 6%. So let's do that. What if the car loan, my mortgage is only $200,000? Okay, it's not at 7, it's at 6. All right, there's my payment, $1,199.10. So maybe that would make a difference. My house is only $200,000 at 6%. Well, in 24 months, it's still $23,000. So I'm going to pay $23,000 so that I can pay off my car and pay less than the $11,000 they were going to ask me to pay on the car, pay less than that, while I'm paying $23,000 using the debt snowball on this mortgage. Folks, does the debt snowball make sense? In fact, I think that's more punitive than Dave Ramsey calling me stupid for being in debt in the first place. What do you all think? Okay, so would it make more sense to know when to put money on the mortgage and when is the right time to put money on the car so that you can pay the least amount of interest overall? Our program does that. It chooses which debt and how much money to attack to save you the most amount of money in interest overall. Period. So that is the key to getting out of debt, not the good feelings you get from paying off the car, paying off the credit card. You see, you don't know how much interest you're actually paying for that. I asked the question in my book. Okay, the P.I.L.L method. Okay, let me put that a picture of that on the screen. Let me find one. Okay, I know I've got a picture around here somewhere. There it is. Okay. All right. It's been a #1 bestseller on Amazon. All right. So it's the only book that talks about understanding how an amortization schedule works. And I asked the question in my book, how much are you willing to pay for your good feelings? It feels good to pay off a debt. It feels good to use this debt snowball and get these small wins. But what good is it if you find out later that you paid $50,000 to $70,000 more in interest than you needed to pay just to get out of debt quickly? What we should be focusing on, folks, is the good feelings we get from understanding the system. And that's why I need you to come back here on Friday, because there's been some drastic changes in our financial outlook and those that are the protections that have been put in place to help us out. So I'm going to be learning. I'm going to come in here and listen to Los on Friday and understand this, so I can take some of that information. I can bring it back to my audience on Wednesday, because okay, that we need to be talking about currently to help our clients and the people who watch our show, so that they can understand what's happening. Folks, I want to thank you for being here. It's almost time for me to go. I got another 10 minutes here, unless I have more questions. If I have questions, I'll stay. Okay, I'll stay the whole time up until 12 Eastern. All right, 11 Central. I'll stay the whole time if I have questions or people want to come up and talk. So I put the link out there if you want to come to our studio in YouTube. If you want to come into the studio, or you can raise your hand, come up to the stage here in Clubhouse and talk some more and ask some questions. So Martina, do you have any other comments or questions? You can click that microphone so you can talk, so we can hear you. Or maybe she got busy. All right. There she is. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I was just I was just writing down the information that you had just shared with the interest rates and how much that it would save. Yeah, that's very instrumental. And so let's see. So if you had so you said with a $200,000 mortgage, if we paid did follow the amortization chart, then that way we would know what time frame in which to and what amount to pay off the mortgage.
No, what I'm saying is so we can understand it better. We're using this as a tool. This is not my program. My program is a cloud-based AI computing system that we can plug all of our numbers in that tells us what to do. Would you like to see an example of that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let me bring that up for you. So let me see here. Pull that up. Let me log into it. Okay, because it's cloud-based, you log into it just like, like your online banking. We give you a username and password. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up a demo and pull that over so that you can see the demo here. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and we'll go over some of the examples in the demo as soon as it loads in. There it is, and here we go. All right. Now, this is what we call our opportunity cost calculator. This is John and Rebecca Jones. So I'm going to reset this account and we'll put something simple in here and show you how John and Rebecca Jones deal with their debt. Okay. So they have in their account, okay, I'm going to click on the accounts tab because this is how we control it. They have $500 in checking. They have $5,000 in savings. They have a $25,000 car loan. If you all want to see this, go to YouTube so you can see it. The link is at the top of the page. Okay. If you're new to the room and you want to see these numbers, $25,000 auto loan. They owe $2,000 on their Visa at 21%. And they have a 6% mortgage, which is $200,000 for 30 years. Okay. That's what they have. So when we go back up here to the top, we'll see that John and Rebecca Jones, will not pay $179,689 in interest and be able to pay off all of that debt in 7.7 years. This is what the program does. So how does the program do that? So we put in how much they're making and how much they're spending. John's budget is this. John and Rebecca's budget is this. John makes $950 biweekly. Rebecca makes $700 weekly. So when they average it out, they average making a little over $5,000 a month, $5,091 a month. Their bills average out to $3,759 a month. That means after all the bills are paid, they have a little over $1,300 left over. You follow me, Martina? Okay. They have about $1,300 left over. Now, what happens when they pay all of their bills? All right, they get their income in and they tell the program, I got paid. So John gets paid $950 and then he clicks execute. All right. And then he tells the program, I got paid. And then it disappears from the screen. It's all gone. But that is added to his virtual checking account. Okay. So he looks at his virtual checking account in the program, and there's $1,450 in there. But he has $1,450 in their bank at the bank. So it matches up. Okay. So the program always knows how much they have in the bank. So when we take a look at that, now they have enough money in the bank to pay their mortgage. They just tell the program that, pay their utilities, and they keep on clicking these off. When they pay their utilities, they tell the program. They pay the mortgage, they tell the program. All right. Now, when Rebecca gets a new check, $700, they tell the program. So that adds that money in. But now, when you see the program gives you these little arrows here, Martina, it says, at this point, you have $100.90 in your checking account you don't need for anything else. How about that? So take that $100 and put it in your savings account. So they transfer it over, all right? And then they're going to pay the phone bill. Rebecca gets a new paycheck, and then now they have $590 in their checking account that they don't need. So the program says, move that over. So they do, move it over. And they're just making minimum payments on the mortgage this month, minimum payments on the car loan, minimum payments on the Visa, which is $50, and they pay the rest of their bills. Now we're going to move. We start out in December. We're moving into January. The program says, okay, we're going to continue to put money away in savings. This is, well, Don, if we have extra money available, why is the program waiting? Well, if we look over here in this window, the program says, if you're doing this, then you're on tap to, once you get to January 16, you'll probably have around $2,569 saved up to attack the debt with. So Martina, let me ask you a couple of questions here. So open up your mic if you can.
Okay.
Okay. So if I tell you, like most people do, out of every paycheck, I need you to put some money on debt. Okay. And you start out okay, but what happens if the hot water heater goes out?
Then now you're going to stop that and address the hot water heater?
You most certainly are. Okay. So when you're trying to take money out of your budget, to a certain amount out of the budget, pretty soon you won't be able to do that. And every time you don't do that, you get discouraged. Pretty soon you stop the whole process. But what if I told you, whether it's $500 or whether it's $2, any money that's left over, let's put that in savings. And when it gets to a certain amount, take the money out of your savings account. Now, how stressful is it to take money out that you've already saved instead of just taking money out of your weekly or monthly budget? You see where we're going with this?
Yes.
Okay. So they take the money out of savings and they're now going to say, okay, when we get down here to January 16th, so let's scroll down to January 16th. The program says, oh, we're going to take money out of the savings and just knock off that credit card. We're just going to pay that off. We're just going to kill that credit card. Boom. And that will save us a total of $1,800 in interest on that credit card. That's gone. All right. Paid to zero out of savings, not out of my monthly budget where I've got to cut my family back. We're paying everything we're supposed to pay and then put money away that we don't need for anything else. So now that we pay off the credit card, now we're going to take $548.05 only, because this is what we call an optimized amount. Okay. We're going to take $548.05 only and apply that to the mortgage, and that will save us $2,705 in interest we never have to pay. What does that really mean? If we were to pay our mortgage, Martina, the way that the bank wants us to pay it, by the time we paid it down by $548, we will also have given the bank $2,700 in interest. This way, if we give them the $548 out of our savings account and left our regular budget intact and gave them the $548 early, that means they can't charge us $2,700 in interest. That's the difference. That's the weakness in the system. So every now and then, after saving up so much money, we're putting it on the debt where the program says to put it. And it's going to save us the most interest. This is what we're offering people. Now, do I need to understand it better? I don't need to understand it to follow the program. Do I understand my GPS unit and how it works in my car? No, but I like understanding it. Okay, I like science. And it's interesting science to find out how a GPS system actually works. This is why our clients not only get the benefit of this technology, we show them the numbers as to why it works. Not just that it works, but why it works, why you want to do things this way. So that's kind of where we're going, ladies and gentlemen, so people can know what is happening with their money. And when you know what's happening with your money, guess what? You can manage your debt faster and cheaper when you know how it works. So this is what we're offering: superior financial education, a safe space to bring your financial information to us. We'll never make you feel bad about how much credit card debt you have, how much student loan debt you have, some financial, you tried some things and they failed, and now you have all this, you have this financial burden because you actually tried a business and it failed, and now you still have the debt. We're not going to make you feel bad about it. We're going to show you how you can manage that a lot cheaper and still live well with your family. You don't need an extra job. You won't need to say we can't go on vacation for a while because we got to pay off this debt. You'll be able to live well and pay off your debt with your current income. We're going to give you a plan based on your current income as to how you can manage this debt more efficiently. That's what we provide. So, any other questions, anybody? Any other comments? Okay, I see Emmett's hand. Come on, Emmett. Come on up, Emmett. I see you. I didn't see you before, but I see you now. Come on up, sir. What do you got for me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. My question was regarding credit card debt.
Yep.
Can this be applied to credit card debt? And if you are paying electronically, how is it that you can let the credit card company know where the payment goes? that's been my challenge.
Okay, here's what's happening with the credit card debt. Do you have more than one credit card with debt on it?
Yes.
Okay. Are you paying more than the minimum on more than one card?
Yes.
Stop it. Pick one, even if it's wrong. Okay? Pick one and put all the extra money on that one and just pay the minimum on the others. That one will go away so much faster. Okay? And then you can pick a new one once that's paid off. Now, here is what I need you to understand, Emmett. When you're paying off a credit card, that is legitimate money available to spend. I need you to start thinking of your credit cards like a savings account. You could put money in savings and you still have it to spend, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, so if you start working on your credit cards and say, okay, I got this credit card, this one's $1,000, we pay that off. Now I have $1,000 I can spend. Now I'm going to work on the one that's $5,000. I'm going to pay that off. Now I have $6,000 I could spend. Now I'm going to work on the one that's $10,000. Now that's a total of $16,000 I have available to spend. But we're going to do it in a responsible way from now on, and look at that money that's on the credit card as money that's available to me, but I want to be able to do it now at a much lower interest cost. I don't care what the rate is. We help you to manage the interest cost when I use that money from the credit card. So number one, stop focusing on all of your cards trying to pay more than the minimum on that. Pick one and pay and use all your extra money there. Now, if you want to know how to, now, Emmett, do you have a mortgage as well?
No.
Okay. So tell me, what kind of debt do you have? You got credit card debt. What other kind of debt?
That's all. Just credit card debt.
Okay. No car loans.
No.
No student loans.
No.
Okay. All right. So if you have credit card debt, I would handle it that way. I would make sure I know which one to attack. Now, you can get a consultation for $150, and we can take a look at what you're doing, and I can give you better instructions on how to handle that credit card debt without actually getting our whole lifetime program, depending on how much debt you have. Okay. But if you just want to get some good advice on your situation alone, it only costs you $150 for the hour. We'll take a look at it and give you some good advice. Or you can just keep watching my videos for free. Either way.
Sounds good.
All right.
I mean,
all right. So we'll put our number back in here again. All right. We'll put our number back in. It is 256 886 1867. Call, ask for me or ask for Terasa, and set up an appointment. If that's all you want to do is, get a little bit of advice about your situation. If you have quite a bit of debt, you've got a mortgage, you've got some credit cards, you got a car loan, you may have even some student loans. If you want to know how to manage that to pay the least amount of interest, then go to ice10k.com and click on that link that says get a savings and earnings report. Put everything in there, and someone from our team will give you a call, confirm the information, and set up a consultation so that you can find out the month, day, and year you'll be debt free on all of that debt. Do you know we have doctors and lawyers on our program that their student loans are more than their mortgage, and they're still all paid off in about 7 to 9 years? Even the student loans and the mortgage and the cars and the credit cards. You see, the reason why we're in debt so long is the amount of interest that you pay. All we have to do is fix it so that we can pay less interest. How can I give the bank back their money and make it impossible for them to charge me interest? Let's do that today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go there. Let's not be negative like Mr. Ramsey. Let's not be negative and call people stupid for using debt. Let's not tell them they have to cut up their credit cards. And anybody that disagrees with him, then he's going to be calling them names. Now, there's somebody in the White House that every time he gets challenged, he starts calling people names. Well, listen, we don't like that. We don't want that. I don't need people calling me names because I made a financial decision. I want to know how to do it better. And when you don't have a better solution, you just start calling names. Well, we don't go there. This is a safe space to come to, ladies and gentlemen. Come here. So, I got Martina that came up. I got Emmett that came up. Emmett, I hope that helps you. Do you have any other question for me before I get out of here? All right, Diva T says, can you speak on mortgage recast? Okay, mortgage recast. All right, so let's talk about that for a second. Okay, I have my let's use our, let me get rid of this and get rid of this one. Okay, there we are. All right, so I have my $400,000 mortgage again. I'm going to put it in at 7% for 360 months. And we'll bring that back. All right. So now what after 5 years? After 5 years, I've got 60 payments in. Okay. Now that means I can recast this mortgage. So now that I owe $376, $376,526.41, I can get it recast to I've got 300 payments left. Well, I can change it over to a 300-month mortgage if I want to and recast it, okay, to a 300-month mortgage. But there's really no reason to. But let's take a look at what it would look like, okay? So let's say I can instead of getting a refinance, which it technically is, let's say the interest rates drop 5%. I'm going to take what I owe here, 376, okay? And we're going to put it in at, duplicate the tab here. Okay, so we're going to put in the new amount. There it is. Paste, take out the comma. The program doesn't like the commas. Okay, and put it in 300 months. Okay, instead of 360. And the interest rates drop to 5.5. Okay, now I have that instead. So we take that payment out. All right, so we're going to put in the new payment. Okay, so now that's my new payment, $2,321 that's been recast. I've lowered my interest rate. I put it in at it started out at 2661. So my payment was 2661. And instead of that, now I have a new payment of a recast. And my payment is now, let me get rid of this advertising. My new payment now is 1220. All right, so it's less. But look at my principal payment. It's a lot larger. Keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Control the principal payment and you control the loan. Interest payments you skip don't matter. All right. So my principal payment started out at $329, which means if I'm attacking this loan with principal, my money works harder. It does more for me to get rid of payments and get rid of interest at a lower level. $300 gets rid of more debt than $500. It gets rid of more interest cost than $500 would on the other loan. Okay. So now, but 5 years in, I'm here. 5 years in, okay, my payment is my principal payment is $462. So I can use $464 to get rid of this interest payment here. But if I recast the loan to 300 payments, I start out at a $586 principal payment, which means I have to come up with more money to eliminate one full payment off the mortgage. So don't recast the loan. Stay where you are and learn how to pay off the loan that you have in 7 to 9 years. I can't think of a way to do this where I can involve the bank, recast my loan or refinance the loan or make any changes to my loan that it's going to make it better for me in the long run. Watch this. There's one thing that I didn't do by recasting this loan. Watch this. I'm going to put it back here because I put over exactly how much I owed, but I didn't put in any closing cost on this. So let's put in $10,000 worth of closing costs. So now it's $386. And it's not going to change the payment by very much. It's $23.12 right now. And now it's going to be $23.73. Well, that's not much difference, okay? That's got $10,000 in there. So I added $10,000 to the loan because that was the closing cost. So I started out at $376. Now I owe $386. What is it going to take for me to get back to $376, my original amount? I have to pay off that $10,000 that I rolled into the loan, okay, at 5.5. So let's go down $10,000. It's going to take me about 16 months to pay off the $10,000 that I added to the loan. How much interest is it going to cost me? $28,000. So how much does the refinance or the recast actually cost me? $38,000 to do this. I got to pay $38,000 out to get back to my original $376,000. Does that make any sense to you people? Does that make any sense, everybody? Diva? I'm going to pay the bank another $38,000 to get back to where I was, and it's going to take me 16 months to get back to the original place I was. It took me 5 years to get to. No. Use the P.I.L.L method so that you can learn how principal and interest actually works, how an amortization schedule actually works, so that we can give you not only the education, but the technology that is designed to disrupt the bank's timing, which makes it impossible for them to charge you all of that interest. Use the technology, use the AI that we've developed and our superior education so you can learn what's really going on. Diva says she can't talk right now, okay? She says, but no, it doesn't make sense. So folks, listen, go ahead, go to ice10k.com, go to our website and get a savings and earnings report today. It's free. There's absolutely no reason for you not to know when you could be out of debt. There's absolutely no reason for you not to understand how it works better. If you're not ready to do that, but you want to learn more, watch our videos on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. Watch our videos wherever you want to go to see us. We're there. Watch the videos. When you feel more confident, then come fill out the savings and earnings report, learn the month, day, and year you can be debt free, and see if you want to use our program. Now, the best thing about our program, it is a lifetime program. Do you know we have people who came on with one mortgage some years ago, and now they're paying off their fourth mortgage on our program, and they don't have to pay us any more money. That's it. They're with us for life. Okay. So let me see if there's any more questions here. All right. I see you, Ken. I see what you're doing, Ken. Okay. All right. Now, if you decide you want to get a business purpose loan, okay, do you know the P.I.L.L method works on business purpose loans as well? Ken, I hope everybody you're putting in a business purpose loan, you're telling them about the P.I.L.L method so they can pay that thing off, not in 20 years, but they can pay it off in 5. Okay. I hope you're telling them that. All right, everybody. So anybody else have any questions about what's happening now in government? What's happening with our money? What's happening with the CFPB? What's going on with Dave Ramsey's negativity, calling people names when they're using debt, when he should be telling people how to read an amortization schedule instead? He is just projecting his bad feelings or the mistakes he made, and he feels bad about it. He calls himself stupid for doing it. And he calls you stupid if you use debt as well. He's just, try to understand him. He's just working out of his pain, and hurting people hurt other people. We know that here at the P.I.L.L method. That's why we don't use those. We don't use that. We don't call people names. We don't make them feel bad about the decisions that they've made. We help them where they are and help them to understand what's really going on. We've been here 3 hours and 16 minutes so far, everybody. So anybody else have any questions or comments? I'll take a look here. I'm not seeing any other questions. I'm going to look online for comments. All right. And I'm not seeing any there. All right. Well, folks, that's it for today. We're going to get out of here early, but we're going to be back. We're going to be back next Wednesday. And let me see if I can upload. You know what? I had a show all set for Wednesday, but I think I want to talk about the CFPB and any other thing that is happening to us. If I can get enough information, I'm going to change up our show lineup and talk about the changes in government that may be affecting you financially. I may be talking about that next week instead of what we were going to talk about. Let me take a look at next week's lineup. All right, hold on for a second here. And let's see here. Open that. Next week's lineup. Next week's show. It's about stop losing money. Okay. So I could actually use the same title and the same information, stop losing money. And I might be able to combine the two. I don't know. We'll see. I'll either change it up or combine it with stop losing money. And so I think you may like that. So let me go ahead and upload that as well into our system. Okay, so you guys I can show that to you. All right, and okay, so we're going to upload the next overlay. All right. And photos. And there we go. There it is. And we're uploading that now. There it is. So that's going to be for next week. Stop losing money. That's what we had planned to talk about. Okay. Right now, we're losing a ton because we're not paying attention to interest consumption. And I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's more money than you ever imagined because we're not paying attention to it. I'm going to show you all the tricks of the trade to get you to not pay attention to how much money you're losing each month, no matter how much money you're making. You could be making a lot. You could be doing extremely well financially, but you're still losing too much money to interest because we're not paying attention to it. And you don't miss what you can't measure. And we've been taught not to measure. So that's going to be the purpose of that. Stop losing money next week, maybe, unless we change it to talk about, what's happening in government and how that's going to affect us financially. I'm going to be listening to Los on Friday to see what he has to say about it. Because I mean, he studies the government and what they're doing. Okay, so I'm going to be there and listening to that, and I think you would do well to be listening to it as well on Friday. Okay, so that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be getting out of here and going about my day. I've got a lot of clients to talk to and see what we're going to be able to do. I hope you got something out of this today. Don't let people feel bad, make you feel bad about the financial decisions. Bring your financial decisions to us, and we will help you. Okay, we will help you to do better financially. No judgment here. Okay, no name calling here. Okay, no making you feel bad about financial decisions. No making you feel bad about things that you've tried and it didn't work out. Just keep trying and it'll eventually work out. Okay? Don't be afraid of failure. Failure is what teaches you what works and what doesn't work. It's a learning tool. It's a stepping stone. Don't let people make you feel bad about it. All right? So anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank Jonathan Bing for creating the space. Okay? And yes. Talk to me.
Put it out that link. That can you hear me?
Yes.
The link that I dropped in the chat. Jonathan Bing, the creator of the Mortgage Syndicate, he decided to reopen his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The last that I just dropped in. So if you guys would click the link and subscribe, Jonathan would appreciate it greatly.
Okay, to the link to the podcast for what's the show?
For Jonathan Nightroom, Debate the News.
Debate the News. Okay. All right. So yeah, I heard that the podcast is one of the top rated podcasts again. Okay. Debate
in there. He's trying to catch up with the View, which he only needs, a couple few more followers, and he's trying to catch and match what the View doing and probably go beyond.
Okay.
So he's doing great things in the background. So support him a little bit more. He's on every podcast that's out there. He's working on getting on Pandora. I think that's the last one. But
okay,
any podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, he's there. So just look up Debate the News or just click that link, leave a review, like it. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so also he's Nelson and Jonathan have they've created a new social media app called Chatter. So go ahead and download Chatter, and you can meet them there. And that is a great audio app that combines video and audio. Okay, so where Clubhouse just does audio, Chatter does audio and video. So it's a great app. I like it. I like it a lot. But a lot of my audience is here. So go ahead and download Chatter as well. Well, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank you very much for hanging out with us, and I'll see you. I'll see you next week.
Also, drop the link for Chatter in there. Even after he closed with this call, you can come back and get the link. But download the app first, and then come back and grab the invite.
Ooh, look at you! Look at you working hard, Ken. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. All right, folks. I'm going to.
Without interrupting.
You say what?
I say now you can go in without interrupting.
Listen, Ken, you interrupt me anytime you want. Okay. So don't forget to come back for next week. Okay. This was this week's show. Escape the debt trap. Get rid of negativity. Okay. And next week's show, maybe stop losing money. All right. So we'll talk about that. We may be talking about some of the changes in the government, how they're getting rid of agencies that are tasked with oversight. We may be talking about that next week as well. I may need to do more research on that and talk about that at a later time, but we'll see. We'll see. But at least I'll be back with a show, but most likely it'll be this one, how to stop losing all your money to interest. It's going to be a good show. And some of the things that the banking industry does to distract us so we don't see how much money we're losing. Okay? Well, folks, that's it. I'll see you. I'll see you next week. And let's go ahead and play our outro music. Okay? So I'll see you next week. All right, be safe. All right. And all of you that are on the East Coast dealing with the snowstorm, please take care of yourself. Okay. All right. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.